Welcome back to the Timely Discussion series. Your older brothers are back again.
Back, baby.
We're back again, because we were back again last time. We are back again to give you our in-depth thoughts and reviews on the rest of the films we saw in 2025, or that came out in 2025 that we saw in January of 2026. We're going to talk about a decent, I would say this is a better grouping.
Sure.
Than the last go-around. But before we get into that, the last movie of 2025 that I saw was Hamnet. When we saw it, beforehand there was a trailer. And keeping this tradition alive, let's review these trailers. We saw a trailer for a Angel Studios, Star is Born.
Yeah.
It said based on a true story. Oh, I thought of a joke in the theater that made me laugh. I thought it should be called A Star is Born in a Manger. But it's just this kind of Star is Born nonsense country singer band. And are we going to be able, we're not, you could never put on a Jesus affirming show in my town. And then he does it or something.
Yeah.
Based on a true story. And then the title came up and it said, I Can Only Imagine 2. And I said, wait, 2?
The sequel? There's a first one?
Is this the first sequel to a based on a true story movie?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's a very good point you make because, most true stories are just one and done. Yeah. Whatever, we get our money and get out. But Angel Studios, do they still just have Sound of Freedom money to piss around?
I don't know what
I guess.
They have. Well, actually, didn't Mel Gibson fired Jesus from Passion 2, which is also based on a true story with a sequel.
That is.
Oh true. My God. And you know what else? Social Network 2. Also based on a true story. The Social Reckoning coming soon. And French Connection was based on a true story. Loosely. Okay. And there is a French Connection too. So really? Actually there's lots of true. Yeah, there is.
Wow.
There is a French Connection too. It's fucking boring. Anyway, I Can Only Imagine 2 coming soon. And then we saw the trailer for Black Hat 2 starring Halle Berry, blacker than ever. What was it called? Crime
101 with Chris Hemsworth and Halle Berry.
Black Cat. That's what they call her pussy. Her black cat.
They do say that.
Yes. Anyway, that looked great too. All right, Hamnet.
Yeah. If my thoughts are coming back to me correctly from 2 months ago, didn't really care for this movie. I didn't hate it. When I went in, so the pre-knowledge I have of this movie is my aunt, who loves movies as well. She saw the play version of Hamnet, not Hamlet, and walked out at the intermission. And she really never does that. And I trust her opinion on these, the more refined culture. She's a very smart woman. And when she saw this movie was being made and we were just talking about movies in general, she's like, I don't know.
Did she hate it or was she just bored?
She said it was boring. And I don't want to put too much words in her mouth, but that was a thing of really just who is this for? I couldn't really care about anything that's going on. And my dear aunt, I'll keep your name private. I agree. I was kind of bored during this movie. At the midway point, I'm like, okay, what are we doing here?
This movie has barely enough plot points for a 30-minute short film to stay engaging, in my opinion. I could not imagine seeing this on stage. What are you going to do except just... I can't imagine the stage version was anything other than the two main characters of this movie just talking about the things that happened in the first half, and then just talking about the things that happen in the second half up to a climactic scene that goes on in the movie for way too long, where on stage you can't even do that because that's really something you can only do in movies. So what could that play even be except just dude, I'm fucking Shakespeare, isn't it?
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be weird if someone was like, yo, slings and arrows. And I said, say that again. This is Say That Again, the movie.
Yes. Oh my God. There's one scene that is like actually completely fine where he starts off as a Latin tutor to this family, and then in between that he is writing, I believe, Romeo and Juliet, because he writes like from what light doth whatever suck my dick.
The first thing that Romeo says to Juliet, I believe, and outside her window. And
it does make sense in the movie, and I didn't find this corny for him to like be verbally saying what lines he's writing down, because there are tons of like quotable lines from all of his plays. That was fine. There's another scene, and I'll stay away from spoilers, where he is just standing somewhere and then just breaks into the, I believe, intro of Hamlet for no reason. And it's extremely corny, and I put my head in my hand. I got the secondhand embarrassment cringe where I'm like, I can't stand to look at the screen right now.
Yeah. I was laughing. I was just... This movie did not work for me. I did not like Hamnet. I think part of me wants to give this like a 3 out of 5 stars, which on my system is like average score.
Yeah.
But I really think this is quite below average in most ways. But I think that the set dressing and the performance by Jessie Buckley is enough that most people can probably come out of it and go, that's a pretty good one-time watch. But I think it fails in a lot of ways. Number one, like, just to get it out of the way, in the most broad sense, we talked about this on the way home from the movie when we saw it. I can't think of anybody I know who I would, and you know, so far have not, and I don't have any plans to recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's not good. It's not worth it. Even for the towering Jessie Buckley performance, which, you know, I didn't hate it. I just wasn't as moved by it as I think most people probably will be, because I just found it to be, it's just easy. It's easy to just have a person reacting hysterically to things that we'd all be hysterical at that are objectively sad.
That is a good way to describe this movie in full, is it's very easy. It doesn't really go for anything, like profound.
It's cheap.
It's not an intelligent movie. People describe this movie as emotionally manipulative.
Yeah.
And I kind of stay away from people saying that because it's kind of too vague. And I don't want to say that somebody showing something sad or hard to watch is emotionally manipulative.
Yeah.
Because this movie, in the broadest sense, revolves around the death of a child.
Yes.
I mean, this is in the trailers. This isn't a spoiler.
This is not a spoiler.
This is not a spoiler. The way that the death of a child is portrayed in here does seem very tactless. And, you know, as you get older, for our younger listeners, you tend to tear up more and more often at movies that do show this. And, you know, I'm not a parent, so I'm not going to be as hard hit as a child suffering as other people. I don't like it. But the way that they show it here definitely seems... It seemed like Chloe Zhao was not trying to show it in a touching way that a parent would find heartbreaking. It was more just like, a child is suffering in front of you. He's screaming. A mother is grieving. She's screaming. Jessie Buckley is screaming. That seemed like a lot of the midpoint to like a last third of the film. And after a while, you start to resent the film because you're like, okay, well, how many times can I tear up at a child?
It's all they have.
It's all they have. They've played every single card when Hamnet, again, not a spoiler, dies.
Yeah, this movie has nothing up its sleeve. They have one card, which is, well, we can have our actors act a lot, and then that'll carry it because we'll put on fucking TikTok music.
Yes, the final song is like... Yeah, something you can just play on Instagram Reels.
Yeah, you would all recognize it if you heard it. I don't know the name of it, but it's the violin piece. Na, 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 na.
You've heard it. Yeah.
You've heard it. You already could finish the melody. That's the only thing it can do, and it just keeps hitting that. This movie didn't really work for me, even in that sense. I agree. The movie's not exploitative, in my opinion, but... It reminded me actually a little bit of Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah.
Not that it went as far as that, but Darren Aronofsky.
You're drunk.
Darren Aronofsky, he is extremely like edgelord because he has nothing else.
Sure.
So his movie's like, I'm just going to show you the extreme stuff. And this is kind of the Oscar bait female perspective equivalent of that. It's just... I don't know. If I were somebody watching this who was a big fan of Shakespeare and I had either lost a child or known someone who lost a child and I'm a big fan of meta stuff in movies, maybe I could appreciate it for the fact that I'm getting some satiation for those things with this movie. Mm-hmm. But that is all it has. This movie has no story. quite literally, without leaving things out. The movie starts with Shakespeare meeting this woman, Agnes, but they pronounce it Agnes.
Agnes, yeah.
Meets her. He's in love with her. They start a family. One of the children dies. And then he writes a play where a character shares a name with his dead son. Kinda. Because as I say at the beginning of the movie, Hamlet and Hamnet are actually the same name because they're used interchangeably cited in this literature. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on. Their relationship, the central relationship between the husband and wife goes nowhere. It's based on nothing. It's the same thing that I gripe about with all these movies that Chloe Zhao is guilty of in her previous movies and this one, where everything is developed off camera in a time jump. Mm-hmm. They meet. He talks to her for like a minute and then they kiss and then it's a month later and then they have sex and then it's a year later and she's giving birth. And then they just have this relationship. It's never defined.
That is true. They have a very like bizarre sex scene that I thought was kind of out of place
very weird.
In the movie, and also for the time, because they say like basically he proposes to her. They call it like we are hand trodden or whatever.
Hand fastened.
Hand fastened, yes. Yeah. And then he just like has sex with her on like the kitchen table.
Yeah.
Before the wedding. I'm like, well, I mean, that's not how that works in Christianity. you can't just be like, we're going to marry, don't worry about it.
And it's also a very movie sex scene where they're both fully clothed and then somehow 3 seconds later he is fully penetrating her. And it's like, there was not enough time.
Yeah. Chloe Zhao, are you a virgin? Do you not know how it works?
Yeah. She's a rich virgin. Oh, I forgot to look it up. She's also a Nepo baby. Chloe Zhao sucks. I hate Chloe Zhao. Specifically because of her movies. I know nothing about her persona or her takes or anything. She could be the sweetest person on earth, but I think she makes hack Oscar bait nonsense and somehow it works. I think that this movie is just like, it's the most shameless Oscar bait. It's a period piece. It's a meta thing with Shakespeare. It has all the big acting scenes. There's like 4 times in this movie where the camera just holds on Jessie Buckley screaming. Mm-hmm. And then the scream goes silent and you're watching her like silently kind of tremble and whimper and then look down and then,
yeah, she does that like howling scream.
You can't keep doing this, Chloe. She has nothing else. She can't write dialogue. I noticed because we saw this movie accidentally with closed captions.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Captions just started at the beginning. I was like, oh no. Thankfully, they weren't too obtrusive with the fucking like music note, because there's music throughout the movie. And I was like, please do not do this right now. We saw this with captions and it was very apparent because of the fact you can just read all the lines. Everyone's exchanges are just like very basic humdrum kind of, don't do that. Set that here. Please get this now. There's no... You could put everyone's dialogue in someone else's mouth and it wouldn't affect anything. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very bad sign for like not defining your character at all through what they say.
Yeah. This was a really bad point at the end for a scene that I won't get into because I don't want to go too much into spoilers at the end scene.
Yeah.
But Jessie Buckley, like we talked about, she has the most Chinese dialogue. Chloe Zhao, what are you doing here?
Oh, yes.
Something is happening on stage and instead of you, Chloe, trusting the audience to interpret it in the way or directing it in a sense that you would actually be able to see what she's trying to portray, Jessie Buckley is like, oh my God, he's doing blah, blah, blah. And like, by the way, speaking in an audience to her brother and everybody's like shushing her, which is like
shut the fuck up, lady.
Shut the fuck up, you dumb bitch. She just keeps like saying what is happening on screen.
Yeah.
Because I would actually say because Chloe Zhao isn't directing it all that well. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what am I meant to take in from this scene right here? Yeah. And then Agnes just tells you what you're meant to be feeling.
Yes. Almost
like literally explicitly. And that was driving me insane.
This is such a film school movie. Chloe Zhao is a permanent film school student. There is number one. Okay. There are 2 shots in this movie, but it's the same shot repeated. That is it's just obviously taken right out of Roma. The camera slowly panning to one side as actors come in and out of the frame and you're observing the space. That is just, she saw that in Roma, she took it. I'm not against someone using a shot they inspired from someone else, but her movies are made up only of instincts that are baseline that film students, when Roma came out, I was in college and people started making projects with the slow pan thing. Chloe Zhao has that instinct. This movie, the ending you're talking about. Now, I don't think you can spoil this movie because here's the thing. I thought going in that I knew nothing about the movie except that it was about Shakespeare and his son named Hamnet who died. Turns out I knew everything about the movie because the ending of the movie is in the trailer. Nothing happens in that final scene that you can spoil except for one detail, which you see in the trailer, which is Jessie Buckley. We need to warn people about this. Either if you're going to see it, you're going to see it, but just go in knowing you cannot be mad, because if you watched it, you can't in good faith say it's spoiling anything to say that at the end of the movie, she's going to go see a performance of Hamlet where she's going to have an emotional moment where she reaches towards the actor on the stage and then everyone starts doing it because it's shown in the trailer in an obviously climactic moment.
Yeah.
I didn't think they would show I thought there had to be more.
Yeah.
No. They have kids. They do movie stuff where we're eating and there's kids. We're playing in the yard and there's kids. Kid dies. And then we're all really sad for a while. And then meanwhile, Shakespeare cooked up this Hamlet piece. They perform it. I watch it. I'm emotional. And that's the end of the movie. And you're mentioning the Chinese dialogue. She's watching it and she's saying, why? She has a program that says Hamlet. Mm-hmm. And she arrived in town knowing she's going to see a tragedy named after her son, written by her husband, William Shakespeare. And then when the play starts, she's like confused about what she goes, why is this? Why are they saying the name of my son? Yeah. You know, the show's called Hamlet. No one would be saying that in that moment.
Yeah.
It's so, it's just so wrong. It sounds like trite to even complain about, but she starts acting confused and she's doing things no one would do. And she's like talking to the stage and she's like, why are they saying, don't say the name of my son. That's my boy or whatever. And like, it's not emotional. No. The script needs her to be vulnerable. So she just loses her IQ points for no reason at the end. In this scene that made me feel nothing. Yes. I felt nothing at that ending.
And it really does infantilize her because she's seen as a fairly intelligent woman beforehand. Like she's kind of like a weird like forest girl.
Yeah.
Like just going like
crawdads sing.
Yeah, like crawdads. She's in the marsh.
Kaya.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the marsh. And she's out there just kind of like mixing like burdock root and like thyme and rosemary together, just like making weird salves and being like, here, smell this. It makes you remember stuff. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, she's like, but me son Hamlet, but it call Hamlet? Why not Hamlet? And it's like, okay, well, Chloe, she was actually fairly decent.
It reminded me of the "Why did you say that name?" scene from Batman v Superman. It's that bad. I'm not kidding. It's like, it's on that level of no one would be doing that. But why did you say Martha? Why would you say that name? Chloe Zhao. And I feel comfortable saying that because number one, well, actually, I can't say the number one reason. No, I can't say number two. Here's the thing. She's not going to, so her family can't sue me and say you bullied her too hard. But she's also Chinese and woman.
Can I say something about Chloe Zhao real quick? One good thing about you, I saw a video of you celebrating your Oscar nominations, and you kind of remind me of like a cute monkey. And I found that charming. So there you go.
How'd she remind you of a monkey?
She's like you ever see, what are those called? Like, those monkeys you see in the hot springs in Japan, how they have like a little cheeky smile and they kind of move in a little happy way. She was like dancing around an airport lounge doing that. And I was like, oh, that's sweet.
Okay.
And, she was celebrating a nomination. So Chloe Zhao, you kind of remind me of that.
Chloe Zhao, you're the least deserving Oscar winner in Best Director history, right? Am I wrong? Is there one I'm forgetting? Is there a crazier pick?
Well, you're more autistic about this than me, but I think you're right. I can't remember another one. Nomadland looked boring.
Nomadland would have been exactly the same in the hands of any film student. You give them the same cast and script, they would film it the same way. You are nothing. You have no personality. There is nothing about the way you make movies that is unique. You are the definition of a DEI hire. Fuck you. Also, the color theory in this movie. The red. I thought it was hilarious that Jessie Buckley's character wears the same dress her entire life. They show her when she's a child and she's still wearing the same little red thing. And I'm like, really? She wore this. She's like Han Solo. She never changed her. Except Nick, the one scene after the child is dead. Did you notice that when she was gardening, she was in a slightly dirtier, kind of grayer one because the color was drained from her life when her son was gone? But then at the end, when she saw the play where she saw character named Hamlet, who was her son, in her mind, there was plant with red berry. So the red, the vibrance, you see what I'm saying? It's really smart when you think about it.
Chloe Zhao does have monkey brain now. If you think about it, she go red means symbol. Give me red, me make red.
Do you think that maybe like do we have documented proof she knows how to even speak any language? Do you think it's possible that if you asked her a question, she'd be like, big guy, red dress?
Oh, Hamlet, red dress, son is dead.
This movie is so stupid. Fuck Camna, this gets 0 out of 10. I was being nice by giving this an average. This is the most nothing movie.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed is that mediocre movies make Caleb way more angry than bad movies, and I understand that.
Yeah.
I found this incredibly just easy. She took the easy way out to make a movie that for most people will be completely fine. And if you like this movie, power to you. I found it incredibly vacant. And if I had to rate it out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it 2 to 2.5. And I think 2.5 is being generous. I'd probably lean closer to 2.
Chloe Zhao, director jail.
We're putting you in that Uyghur camp in China.
The Uyghur camp, the Uyghurs. Yeah, Chloe, what do you have to say about the Uyghur Muslims?
Yeah.
Your people have enslaved and slaughtered.
Make a movie about that and then I'll respect you, you cute little monkey. You're getting turned into soup, into a Chinese soup, into hot pot. We're going to turn you into pho. Now on to the natural enemy of the Chinese, the Japanese. Caleb, I watched 2 good Japanese movies recently.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say. First one that I want to recommend to people when it eventually hits the States, I think in April, which is bizarre because it's been out in Japan for like 3 months at this point, and made, I think, like $50 million. It's called Exit 8. This is based on an indie game that kind of hit the world by storm almost a decade ago. It's part of this type of game series where you look for anomalies. Basically, in this series of games or this style, you walk through a location and you take note of everything in, for example, like in the movie, it is a train station.
Okay, I know what this is.
Okay.
I know what this is.
So in the game, you walk through and you see like posters, you see sprinklers, you see people walking. And the first time you go through is exactly the perfect scenario. And then each time you go through, you have to see if there's any anomalies. Like, for example, if a poster is dripping blood or if a guy has like a smile on his face or something. This game cost pretty much nothing to make, but everybody loved it in Japan. It was a huge thing. Movie came out this year, and I thought it was pretty good. I think it's the best video game adaptation ever.
Whoa.
I mean, that being said, it is not a 5-star movie, but historically, video game adaptations are terrible.
It's a low bar.
Yes. There's a couple that eventually are like, that's all right. And we'll get into another video game adaptation later that is awful that came out this year. But the game had no story, and really all you kind of needed to have for this movie to be decent was like an average storyline. And you're getting, if I had to put it, like a 6 out of 10 story in a pretty decent, I don't want to say like hard horror, because there wasn't like a time where I was like super scared. But I think this does a good job of capturing that like existential dread, because basically this guy is trapped in a loop. He has to find the anomalies 8 times. And if he fails once, he goes back to square one. So it's that dread of, I can't get out. What am I going to do? And you could probably look into it deeper of saying something about Japanese society. But scary train station, anomaly scary, you could die.
It's interesting you say that, because I was just thinking, do you think the reason they fantasize, because like with Squid Game, I know that's Korean, but with Squid Game and this and just like general Asian art being about like how you need to compete, you need to like complete some kind of puzzle to win your freedom. Do you think that's like telling about the mindset?
Salarymen winning the rat race, the high suicide rate. I think a lot of Asian cinema, specifically Japanese and Korean, does like to explore that aspect of society. I mean, I haven't seen like a ton, but I mean, like Park Chan, like we saw No Other Choice, and that kind of does the exact same.
Or Parasite.
Parasite, exactly.
Yeah.
Even some of the more horror thrillers, like I Saw the Devil, and well, this isn't horror, but like Burning. I think it's Lee Chang-dong. Those also deal with how people in society act.
Yeah.
And the social constructs of the world. But Exit 8, I enjoyed. Neon, I think, picked this up for distribution. It's going to be out in like fucking April or May. Okay. Which is kind of disappointing, because I've seen this with English subtitles officially. And I don't get why it's taking so long to come out here. It's a very simple movie to translate or localize. Because the dialogue is, I wouldn't say repetitious, but there isn't a lot of it. And it's like him walking through these places being like, cameras in the right place, doors, weird, what? So there's not, it's not dense. Like, for example, localizing Parasite might have been hard because it deals with a lot of like social things that maybe Americans aren't like privy to. But this is literally just nouns. And so this is one thing that kind of pissed me off. It's like, why is this taking so long to come out? Because in Japan, this made $50 million, which is pretty good for an indie movie like this. Yeah. The hype is going to die down. And this is an actual good video game adaptation, and people are hyped about this. It's like, why is it taking so long? It's kind of pissing me off. This isn't just this movie, but it happens.
It's probably just, like, most movies are funded by, like, just dark money. So it might just be that, you know, people who own the thing, they don't care about audiences seeing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they don't care. If there's one thing that being a film fan teaches you, it's that no one involved in the process cares about actually, like, helping the world of movie lovers thrive or exist, you know? Just a bunch of rats, like, jumping off a sinking ship, basically.
Yeah, it sucks that there's so many people in the film industry that just hate film.
Yeah.
Another good Japanese movie I saw is called Kinki, or About a Place in the Kinki Region. And a lot of people haven't heard about this. A book came out in 2025 of the same name, and I loved it. I saw that this movie was coming out, and everybody was like, oh, this is so great. And then I saw the book and I said, okay, this interests me. I want to read it before I watch the movie because most of the time the book is better than the movie. I would say that is the case here, but I want to give a recommendation About a Place in the Kinki Region by someone called Setsuji. It was written in Japanese and it was originally this web experience. Like you would go to I believe like a website or somewhere online and read it. And how do I describe this? Somebody is investigating a place in Japan that deals with a lot of disappearances, almost cult-like behavior. And the way the book is represented and how they represent the information there is fantastic. It's very realistic. They even have like forum posts by people investigating it, and it's in like the 4chan style, because 4chan originally, there's a Japanese website called 2channel, and it has the same posting format as 4chan. So when I saw all the names and the like IDs from the posters, I'm like, oh, that's 2channel. There's also something in the movie. There's a live streaming site in Japan called Nico Nico. And if you've ever seen anything like this, maybe only a few people know this. It's a live stream video and like the kanji or the text is like scrolling from right to left on screen. This is an actual streaming service in Japan. And in the movie, it does capture a Nico Nico live stream pretty much perfectly. So I like that attention to detail. I would recommend the book. It delves into like existential dread and horror. It was one of those books where I like read, I think like 150 pages in the night by the fire. And then like I was very nervous about walking upstairs to go to bed past the windows. So I would recommend that book if you guys like horror, if you like creepypasta type stuff. I would recommend that. The movie was directed by a guy who did a found footage movie called Noroi the Curse. And this is considered on the level of Blair Witch and what's the other found footage movie that's real? Lake Mungo. Those are kind of like the Mount Rushmore of found footage horror movies. This is like, you know, the best, I would probably say, Japanese found footage, or at least most well known.
Better than Max Landis's Chronicle?
I might say this is better than Chronicle.
Okay. High Stratosphere.
That Josh Trank Kino.
Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot that he made that. I always think that Max Landis like directed that movie. No. I forgot that Fant Forstick himself did Chronicle.
He put pen to paper and Josh Trank said, that's interesting.
Even though Chronicle isn't great, mostly because of, I think, Max Landis's way he writes dialogue. Yeah. It's crazy that Josh Trank was able to do that and then made probably the worst movie of all time.
The worst superhero movie.
2 years later. Yeah. Anyway.
God. But the movie, I think, as an adaptation, does a serviceable job. You can't one-for-one bring over everything from the book, because the book's like 350 pages, and there's more. The book is presented as evidence, events that happened, and the narrator, main character, is telling the reader about their friend that disappeared in the region. And for a movie narrative, that works well for a book, but not for a film. So I was fine with them taking some liberties. I think the sense of dread isn't 100% carried over, but I think that all the pieces of evidence they show are very well done, and it's creepy. I think that's the main takeaway here. It's creepy, and I like that.
Good.
They changed some parts about the ending, which I will not talk about, that I'm a little on the fence about, but one problem I'll just say is in his previous movie, Noroi the Curse, I had some problems with some of the special effects. I do not have the problem in this movie. I think I like the narrative of Noroi better, but I like the effects and what I see in Kinki. So if you're a fan of that, if you've ever heard of it, most of you probably not, take it with a grain of salt. But I like this movie. I'd say it's like a strong 7 out of 10. It's a decent entry into Japanese horror that I feel like some of our people might enjoy.
So this guy's moving on up. He's getting more resources. He's doing bigger and better things, and we can expect him to do like a really great Eternals sequel in like 2 years.
I was about to say he's going to do Thor 7, the kinky world.
I'm a kinky otaku. What's Chloe Zhao an otaku for?
Well, she likes, I think, Shakespeare and stuff. She's read a lot about it.
Really?
Yeah, which is hilarious having seen Hamnet.
Yeah.
Because it's really bad.
Yeah. I haven't read one word of Shakespeare, and I could have probably made a more intelligent effort to create a story that hints at where the origins of things would come. And it's just so stick. I'm not over Hamnet still.
It's infuriating.
It's terrible. But don't watch that Chinese shit. Watch Kinky and Exit A2.
Yes, I would recommend them both.
Speaking of recommendations, great recommendations from your older brothers. Nick, we both watched a comedy special this year.
We did.
What's it called?
Chappelle The Unstoppable.
The Unstoppable what?
The Unstoppable.
The Unstoppable. I didn't hear about this when it was being marketed. I heard about it from you, you having talked about it with our other friend Nick, and him being like, whoa, the title's really good. I was like, I'm not watching this. Because Dave Chappelle's been just completely uninteresting to me for a while. I mean, I wasn't a fan of him before he came back. Like, I didn't even really know anything about him. And then when he came back, I watched his special and I went, that was fine. And the entire world just pretended that they had all been Chappelle fans forever. It's like when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl in 2014. People who had never watched a football game were like, oh my God, 12th man.
Go Hawks, yeah.
Okay, sure. And then, his specials just got progressively worse and worse. I know we've talked about it on this podcast about how, the mic slapping, and he just has all these things that he does that really aren't material based. It's just shtick that you're expected to react to, and I have no tolerance for it. So.
He's gotten so lazy. And you mentioned the mic slap thing, and the one before this where he does it I think I counted, he does it 30 times.
Yeah, yes. I remember you sharing that information. Yeah, because I skipped that one.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what it was called now. Was that the Daphne one? Or was it one after that?
I don't remember, because all of them tend to blur, because he has this new thing now where, if you look at old Chappelle, it actually is, intelligently written jokes. He does care about the craft, but then it kind of just devolves into him just hating white people to a certain point. And this isn't what our critiques are about. We have problems with the actual form and what he's doing, but it's always something of just yeah, my brother, he hated white people. And then he gets really serious and just my friend died. He was one of the best. It was Daphne. She was trans and gay.
Yeah, I think he's lazy is the best word to use, although I want to use a lot of other words. I think that he's, and I mean adjectives, not even trying to speak in code here. I just get so frustrated at how willing people are to, I guess, look past or forgive, or maybe they just don't even see it. I don't think I'm that clever for seeing through this. I think it's very obvious what he does, which is he just leans on saying, and this new special, I wasn't going to watch it, but then you watched it and you said, oh, it was terrible. And I thought, I'm definitely not finishing this, but let me start it and I'll watch to the point where I feel like I can't take it. It ended up being 17 minutes or something, further than I expected, actually. But it is insanely apparent. He goes out there, he doesn't make one funny remark or interesting observation. He just says as you know, I live in Ohio. Applause break for Ohio. He's mind controlling you that if he just goes up at the end of the sentence, then you're going to laugh. But he's not saying anything. And when he's not really getting laughs, he'll just start throwing. He goes something about DC, some bit. He goes and then this Elon, woo! And I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is just the worst shit. I think people want to like him because they just hate trans shit so much. And they're so annoyed by it that he's the figurehead of the fight against that. But he's not good. Yeah. He hasn't been good since 2005, I think. When I've consumed his stuff, I don't think I've liked anything since then.
Yeah,
when he was doing his show.
Ever since he came back from his hiatus, It's been just awful.
It's
I mean,
bad.
I think you're right, though. People see him as the based Negro, where he's just like, this trans stuff, I don't get it, man. And they're like, yeah, woo. Like, especially, I forget where they film. I think they film his new special in D.C. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because he mentions he's from D.C. 100 fucking times.
Yes.
If that's not apparent to you guys. He's like, I live in Ohio now, but I'm from D.C. And they're like, yeah. And he's chain smoking cigarettes the entire time, which, by the way, when did he start doing this? I know this has happened for the past decade, but this was never part of his shtick before. And it's so performative and I mean, every time he's in public, he just has to be chain smoking. Like, is he getting paid by Marlboro? Or it's probably Newport's, let's be honest.
You don't have to pay a black man to smoke Marlboro menthol lights. You know that.
Yeah, but God, he's just become so... It's one of those things where it's like, we talk about how Norm Macdonald, it seems like he didn't really care about the craft and he would just wing it, but he did. Dave Chappelle, I feel at this point, has completely just lost any respect for comedy, where he's like, I'm just going to go up on stage and virtue signal.
I want to side note really quick, because you mentioned Norm. I watched the behind-the-scenes interview thing with Conan and Chappelle and Sandler and David Spade after the Norm special, which I had seen before when it came out, but I rewatched it. Holy shit, Dave Chappelle dominates the comedy. He talks every other person. Every time someone says something, he then is the next to speak, makes no observations. And it's just his stand-up low energy, because when he's not on stage, his eyes are half closed and he talks like Spike Lee. I see it for what it was, that he was trying to tell me something. And everyone just sits there and nods along like, yes, wise black man. It's like, you're bad. It's the same as his stand-up. He's just not going at the end and saying.
Yeah.
His stand-up is no different than his regular persona, which is always trying to be the wise man, but having no insight. Mm-hmm. And I wrote it down here. So he is just so high on himself, like all comedians are now, where it really is worse than it's ever been. It's bigger than it's ever been, but stand-up is just, the average is like below the floor at this point. Mm-hmm. He gets out there. He mentions living in Ohio. He says the thing about this Trump and Elon, whatever. He says, I called these and I said, I'm pulling up. And then everyone cheers. They look at him as more of like a political figure than a humorous person, because there was a bigger applause for him saying that he was going to be there to support his people. And he always goes for the most obvious joke that everyone made on Twitter within 5 minutes of something happening.
Yes.
Because he talks about the National Guard being deployed in DC, and he goes, and I got to say, the streets were clean. And everyone laughs. And it's like, what are you laughing at? You didn't have that thought for yourself years ago? This is also outdated. His stand-up is like... I had to check the year that it came out this year. I was like, there's no way this can be new.
You're like, was this in the vault? Yeah, yes. Did we hold on to this?
Yes. Is this a COVID special? Like,
oh, God. Did you ever see his one he did? I think it was called like 837 or something. It's the one that he filmed after George Floyd died. And it's this thing, I think it was on Netflix.
Yes.
Where it was just him and he invited people to his house in Ohio during COVID.
Yeah.
And he was just on stage and he's just like, he had this knee on this neck for 8 minutes. And it's just like, what's the joke here? I mean, and I understand, like, because, by the way, not saying that a comedian can't get serious and do something that's just not comic. Like, if he wanted to go on, like, CNN and talk about this, you know, that his life, he can do what he wants. But he's also trying to pass off this as comedy, which doesn't work. And it's the thing that Norman Jim Downey talked about with Clapter, where you can tell that his comedy has just completely devolved into mention buzzword, get applause, say you're from DC, get more applause, say the N-word, and also how much you hate white people.
I didn't see enough into the special to see the white hatred you're referring to. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm sure that he makes those jokes frequently. He does his thing that all of them do where they talk, like Cat Williams does it, who I respect way more. I still don't love his stand-up. Like, I hate stand-up, period. Like, there's like 2 comedians that I can tolerate. Most of it I find just to be so below average, even when it's quote unquote great. But Cat Williams does this too. All of them do this, where Michael Che, even clever people, when they're talking, they'll mention something and they go, but you know, don't say that in front of white people. And then the whole audience cheers. And it's the thing we were talking about, like the mayo ass, like the seasoning thing. Like, this is really just kind of a baseless cliche that is just accepted. So then when the guy says it, it's like, yes, we're bad. Yep, we all feel bad. And it's like, what are you laughing at? Not only did Dave Chappelle lean into the political Clapter, his comedy, the humor aspects of his stand-up are also Clapter, because he doesn't actually make you think. He doesn't say anything you're not expecting him to say. He doesn't make you think about anything. He doesn't provoke a laugh through surprise, which is, you know, what just basic humor is. I wasn't expecting, oh, that's funny.
at least from a stand-up perspective, where you're not falling down, there's no sight gags, it's all just your words. Like, he really doesn't actually say anything that elicits laughter through being surprised. It's really just recognition. You're like, oh my God, I was waiting for someone to say that in a stand-up special, but It's just stuff everyone has been saying. If you're participating in any aspect of culture, literally anywhere, you already know everything he's going to say, and you've already heard it articulated way better by people who don't get paid to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have put that any better myself. I think he's just completely like gone off the rails.
Oh yeah.
Mostly just like in a creative sense where I don't even think he writes stuff anymore. I think he goes on stage and just rambles.
Yeah. I mean, he probably has an outline.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't think you got to this part, but eventually he talks about Charlie Kirk. He, for some reason, I forget why, brings up Jack Johnson. Do you know who that is?
I know the name.
Okay, so Jack Johnson was a black boxer, I believe, back in the 30s or 40s. And he tells a story about how Jack Johnson, like, boxing was, like, segregated. And they basically, like, white people had to agree to a fight with a black person because they'd be like, why would I fight a black dude, you know? Yeah. And then he got indicted for bringing, I think, like a white woman over state lines to have sex with her. Like, they were in a relationship, but it was one of those, like, racist things of just like, you cross a straight line, Negro, you can't do that. And then he like lost his career over that because of, you know, all that. And I forget why he brings it up, but his closer is this for like 40 minutes.
Holy shit.
There's a certain, because I mean, this special is like barely an hour long or a little over it. And halfway through, he's like, I got 2 closes. I'm going to do both of them. Okay. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, okay. Is he just so like vacant that he has to do like a 30-minute closer?
Do you remember the one that he did in the Comedy Store where he talks about the book Pimp?
Mm-mm.
So this is something he did, I think, on Netflix that was, like, it was released as a quote-unquote special, but it wasn't prepared material of, this is my, like, act I'm touring. It was just him in, like, the smallest room at the Comedy Store. It's like a basement room, whatever. It's a great room, man. Love hearing comedians talk about that constantly.
God, kill yourself.
And he's just kind of, like, riffing, basically. But there is a definite planned portion, which is at the end, he goes, people ask me why I walked away, and I never really answered. It's like, we already know. There's not, by the way, Dave, you're just sitting on this mystery. There's no mystery. You just didn't want to sign the contract because you knew you wouldn't have free. Like, it's really not that exciting, actually.
It's not that deep.
But he loves acting like he loves teasing it like there was this, Illuminati conspiracy. And people love believing that because they, again, just want to believe that he's this figure against this annoying thing in the culture. But I just can't even talk about this and stay calm. It's impossible for me. It's just so triggering. I love to deal with this bullshit. What were you going to say?
I love the idea that in the 2000s, people think there's this Illuminati conspiracy that a black comic could be successful. It's like, it was 2003. Yeah. It's like, obviously, like, black comics before him were killing, selling records. Like, the idea that he has to, like, drink the adrenochrome, do the humiliation ritual and all this stuff is insane. And he liked to lean into that and talk about himself, about how he's like, I threw everything away to go to Africa and be gay. It's like, Dave.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
When he acts coy about it. But he tells this story. He gives this analogy. He talks about this book, Pimp. And he talks about how in the book, it's I think, the accounts of a real life pimp, just sort of talking about all of his methods and what what his life was like in, I think, the 70s in New York or something like that, Harlem. And he talks about this portion of the book that mentions that when one of the prostitutes would be wanting to get out of the business or maybe they had like been raped, something happened where they're like, I can't do this anymore. He would invent a scenario where they're going to get like attacked or something so that he could be the hero and step in and stop it to kind of trick them. It's like, with the flower in Breaking Bad with what does with.
Okay.
And he says, I started to feel like the prostitute. And if you have a brain, you understand the analogy. Again, really not that exciting. It's just he was like, well, I feel like this business is just going to keep me, the money keeps you there. It's golden handcuffs and, that's really all it is. But people reacted like it was much deeper than that. And it really isn't. And he did the Daphne story. And he did what you're mentioning about Jack Johnson. And I think there's at least one other. Not the OJ one. Most of his closers are usually a long, rambly analogy about a black person being fucked with in some way. And then he makes it about him and he goes, and I am also that. And it's like, well, you're really not actually.
No.
Actually, Dave, you get more money. Like the equation here is so offset. The amount of money and freedom you have for how little effort you put into anything you do is actually makes you kind of the rapist. Like you are kind of raping the culture. It just pisses me off to no end. What pisses me off a little less was Ricky Gervais's stand-up special, Mortality. This is the one he won the Golden Globe for over Bill Maher, our favorite. And similarly, I was like, I doubt I'm going to finish this, but let me just start it. Nick, I think I made it 10 minutes.
Oh.
Let me just tell you the things. So it's a Ricky Gervais stand-up special, right?
Yeah.
Nothing like you've ever seen before. No, it's the most predictable garbage I've ever seen. This is just what was talked about in the first few minutes. He gets up there. He talks about someone named Rosie Jones who has some kind of developmental disability, and he says some story about how she wrote an article called like Am I a or something. And it was some think piece about people, whether she can use the word because she's I think that's what I couldn't listen. I mean, like it was followable, but it was like Charlie Brown's parents talking. I was just like, I go into a trance when I hear stand up now. He talks about cancel culture. Oh. He talks about words and who can say words. And he's a likable person, just kind of being himself. Similar to Chappelle, there really isn't any humor written there. It's a lot of just kind of how he's delivering it that's carrying it. Mm-hmm. But it was so stale. Again, I was like, is this a Coney special? Was this done in like 2011? You know?
Yeah.
And I had to give up on it. He says something... I was asking myself, who is this for? He laughs during his bits constantly, like Bert Kreischer.
Really?
And then he describes comedy as an art. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, this is just an art for like misanthropic, delusional, attention-hungry psychopaths. Because every single stand-up special now is just getting up there and talking about how you can't say something. And I don't know how people don't see through this, because you're getting paid to get up there and talk about what they won't let you talk about, when that's really what everyone wants, is for you to get up there and just say anything. But it's like, okay, Ricky, say it. Why don't you say it while you're on stage? You're not going to say it.
Yeah.
And we all know what I mean.
Yeah.
He won't say any of those things. And then when he says in the special, he's like, and I'm quoting the title, and it's like he's all defensive, and it's like, this is performative. Again, this is so performative. Fuck off.
Which is funny because everybody of his ilk, all the comedians back in the day were saying all the time. Yeah. And now it's not like he's dancing around the N-word, which is something that comedians did for the past 50 years at this point. You're not really breaking new ground. I can find a clip of you saying that. Probably worse shit.
Oh yeah.
But he's acting like you can't say that. And it's like, well, you actually can.
I can't believe that it works. I can't believe it's still working on people.
There are a ton of people that don't realize they have more freedom than they think to do things. Well, actually, no, counterpoint. He's British. They have terrible free speech laws over there. So maybe he's actually doing something that is like genuinely boundary pushing.
That is true. Yeah, he is living in a police state.
Yeah. Ricky, if you're a true hero, talk about the Muslim grooming gangs in London. Talk about all those people. Talk about the Turks. I don't know.
He's a staunch... Maybe that's the wrong word for it, but he doesn't hide the fact that he's an atheist, and some people find him like very annoying about that kind of thing. I personally don't take issue with his views, because unlike Bill Maher, he doesn't present it in a like, I'm right, you're wrong, you're stupid kind of way. He's just like, well, this is my... There's a famous clip you might have seen of him on Stephen Colbert, where Colbert is kind of debating atheism with him, because Colbert pretends he's Catholic.
Yes, I hate that bit. Yeah.
Gervais is like, well, you don't believe in like Hinduism, for instance? And he's like, no. And he's like, well, there's like 3,000 gods in that religion, so I only don't believe in one more god than you. And it's a pretty good it's like, it's funny.
Sure, it's clever.
Like he has a good brain, but I just think that I don't think it's coming from a point of laziness, like trying to be lazy for him. I think that he just genuinely thinks he's doing good work, and I guess if you're going to watch a stand-up special from 2025, this might be the one for you. It's a little better, but even still, like I said, if you have just any experience with these topics, or, you're on any kind of social media, or really if you leave your house or don't leave your house, actually, in either case, you're getting enough of this already. So it's just, like I said, stale. Like
if you watch Morning Joe or Greg Gutfeld, you've seen all these bits before. These comedians that are just phoning it in and completely out of touch. Like Bill Burr did this too. I forget what it was because I didn't watch it, but I saw a clip of it where it's just stuff of just like, you can't say no more. What's going on with this? And it's just like, Bill, this has been the culture for the past 10 years. There were commercials.
White women.
Yeah. Why would you choose to date a white woman? Like, what? My wife's black. It's all he talks about. It's all he talks about.
It is. Ricky Gervais, he used to be really... Do you know his joke about being in a car, getting in a car wreck, and an innocent woman? Do you know about this?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm going to just give away a great stand-up bit of his, but it's very short and brilliant. Ricky Gervais had a joke once. He was talking about, he was like driving in like rainy London or something, dark out, hard to see. And he goes, and this woman crossing the street and I saw her too late, slammed on my brakes. I'm not going to do the accent. Slammed on my brakes. It turns out I hit her though. And I thought I had killed her. So I got out and checked on her. Turns out I didn't kill her, so I only raped her. It's great. And he used to have tons of stuff like that. And he won't do that ever again. Now he makes like Derek or whatever. He makes all these Netflix shows that are just, Curb Your Enthusiasm starring Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, that one about his dad dying.
Afterlife,
yeah. Which I did hear got good reviews, and from what I saw of it, I didn't hate it. I mean, I'm not gonna, go to my way to watch it at this point, but he is clever. I mean, he's the reason why we have The Office.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, all the stuff he makes, it's quality, but I feel like he's holding back in a lot of the stuff he makes. Like, it's like how Bill Hader does Barry, and his next projects are probably gonna be like horror movies designed to win Oscars. Yeah. It's like, well, you really actually do have a really good, like, sharp wit, and you could continue that, but you're probably just going to take the money and run.
Have you actually heard of his new project that got announced this week?
No.
Bill Hader's directing his first film, and I might get some details wrong, but basically he's a divorced dad, and his ex-wife marries a new guy, or he's the stepdad, and there's something weird about him. Oh my God. So you actually are kind of right. He's going to be the new Jordan Peele.
This is, I have to say, this isn't me being a savant. I listened to him talk to Ari Aster about Eddington a while ago, and Bill Hader was mentioning, they talk about like scripts they send each other, and Bill Hader's like, yeah, I'm writing these horror movies, and I'm trying to see if there's legs there or whatever. So so I guess it's happening now.
You were right. Once again.
I bet it has a one-word title.
I think it does, actually.
Are you actually serious?
It's a very short
Jordan Peele movie.
It might be an acronym or something, but it is, I think, like a short title. Yeah.
Why do comedians want to make horror movies? They're not good.
Because people think horror is easy to do. Like, for example, I want to make a horror movie one day, but I know it's extremely hard to make something that's actually, inspires or instills dread in you or is actually terrifying.
Yeah. But it isn't cheap.
But then, Jordan Peele made one movie that was kind of good, in my opinion. Yeah. And then he's just like, oh, this is easy. Let me just do this 2 more times and also white people evil. And then the Brownoids keep drinking it up.
He did it 3 more times because he made Him this year.
He technically, made
he produced Him.
I mean, he directed it, let's be honest.
Probably.
I mean, it's one of those, you know what I bet it is he's just like, all right, I'm just going to give you notes and I'm going to be behind the camera and you're not going to tell them what to do, but I'm going to do it. But I'm the producer because of SAG rules or something like that. Or he just, or maybe they did I don't want to say they Alan Smithied him, but maybe they just said, you can't put your name on this because it's terrible.
What's the black Alan Smithy?
Oh, God.
Aaron Smithy?
Aaron Smitty. Aaron Smitty.
It was right in front of me. Real quick, I also considered watching Tig Notaro's I wasn't even trying to say that wrong.
I almost shot sake on my nose.
We're drinking sake right now.
Oh my God, my nose burned.
I also watched Tig Notaro's special, or I almost did, where she's shirtless and the whole thing is like, look, I cut off my titties and now I'm, walking around with a flat chest. And I saw some clip. I don't really know anything about her except that, but I saw some clip of her doing that and I was like, oh, I've got to know what this is, what this material could be. But then I saw a YouTube short or something of her talking, and again, Charlie Brown's parents. And I was like, I don't care. I know that people say she's good. Can't do it. I also saw a trailer for Kumail Nanjiani's special, and I was like, I remember he was funny on Portlandia. I remember he had some college humor sketches where I thought he was interesting. I remember I saw The Big Sick and I thought, this is okay. Maybe his stand-up is good. Let's try. And I watched a clip and he's talking about, again, stand-up. It's like, we could do stand-up every year. We could do an hour every year, Nick. Mm-hmm. And it would sell, who knows how many tickets, if we just had some kind of machine behind us just marketing us and telling everyone we're the best. Because he gets up there and he's like, man, have you tried edibles? They're crazy. I took an edible. I went to a restaurant and I was like, The sun is setting in front of or behind the mountain. I know I'm doing it in a Mexican
You've
voice.
done like 9 accents.
I don't know how to do him because he's Pakistani, but he doesn't have the Indian voice.
He has like a weird fake accent they make brown people do for movies in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And he kept it the entire time.
When Pedro Pascal is playing up his gay Mexican accent, that's how Kumail sounds. So to me, Mexican is like the closest. Like if Kumail talked into that thing that tells you where you're from, it would probably say like gay Mexico.
He does kind of have like a zesty, like, hey, everybody. Like he talks like Serge in Beverly Hills Cop, where he's like, hey, what's going on? It's me, Kumail.
Or the bald guy from Barry.
Oh, NoHo Hank. Yeah.
Kind of if you put them all into one gay pot.
If you boil them down into one brown.
Let's boil Kumail.
Let's boil his head.
Anyway, I saw that and I said, I can't do it. I can't watch stand-up. I just can't do it anymore. I can only watch stand-up if it's on Red Bar and Red Bar is pausing it every 3 seconds to ramble for 20 minutes about how bad it is. That's the only circumstance I can tolerate seeing it. So 2025, the last year I watched some fucking talking to a microphone about how Trump is crazy. I can't do it anymore. And I don't just mean black people. They're all anyone who does stand up, you are just capital N for life.
Yes, I would recommend everybody stop watching stand up right now. Get on the last chopper out of Saigon. Never look back.
The stoppable.
He's super stoppable.
We need to make him stoppable. We need to make him stop.
So you finally saw John Wick 4. What'd you think?
Didn't like it that much.
Really?
Yeah. That's my review.
Okay.
I don't really have a lot to say about it. It's if you've seen a John Wick movie, you kind of probably can anticipate everything that's going to happen in this movie. I was disappointed because it really didn't narratively have anything I didn't see coming. And that's fine if the action scenes are great, but I found the action scenes way dull. I thought this thing was just, number one, I have a gripe with how it's shot. Every single fight scene is done in an ultra wide angle. It's like Del Toro filmed it. And that kind of like that's not bad on its own, but the choreography isn't good enough or fast enough. I constantly spotted people like slowing themselves down and holding back, and it just looked fake. It looked like I was watching stunt performers in a lot of those scenes. So I didn't like how it was shot. Number two, I thought every action scene went on way too long and was so repetitive. Like the cool gunfights where people are not only just shooting at each other, but like doing hand-to-hand combat with the guns and changing hands and, doing that kind of Bourne identity, like I'm fighting you with just random objects I'm finding around me kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of that. And what there was so repetitive. I was bored during most of this movie.
It is the longest John Wick, I think. It's almost 3 hours.
Yeah, and I think 3 was also close to that.
3 was on the longer side, yeah. I think I'm going to disagree with you here. I like the action in this. I think the most overall. I think other movies have better set pieces or better moments. But I think 4, for what it shows you, especially the stair fight, which, by the way, I just recently rewatched Midnight in Paris, and I saw the same stairs that him and I think Marion Cotillard are walking down, and I was like, "That's John Wick."
When she talks about when she was a prostitute, and
that was cool. I like the car battle in the Arc de Triomphe in the roundabout. I think those set pieces are cool, but I think I would prefer something more like in 3 when they raid the Continental. With the adjudicator sends in their forces and all that stuff. I think other movies have like better moments, but I think 4 is solid overall. And I liked the world hopping more than they do in 3, because in 3, at a certain point, they just go to Morocco and Halle Berry's like, John Wick, remember what you did? And he's like, yeah. And he just goes back into New York and says, what the fuck? I think there's more of a reason to do it in 4. And I wouldn't say 4 is my favorite overall. I think 2 is probably my favorite.
I agree. I think 2 is the best.
Yeah.
I think John Wick is good enough. I think it's fine. I didn't even love it when I saw it. I was like, it's a decent action movie. I think 2 is pretty damn good for what it is. Again, not a great story, but it's fine. Mm-hmm. I think 2 is the most like solid. You couldn't really lose anything from it, I think.
Yeah.
3 really sags in the middle for me. And even though I like it, the ending, the like sword fight at the end after the Continental has, they've already dealt with the soldiers. I think that sword fight goes on too long. So I get antsy during the middle, which is a big complaint, and kind of at the end. But the car chase, I think that of the fight scenes, I think the car chase at the end, and I think the initial fight at the, the Japanese Continental?
Oh, yeah.
I thought those were okay, but again, just goes on so long. And I haven't really gotten that bored during the fight scenes in most martial arts or martial art adjacent movies I've seen. I think it's pretty much always entertaining to watch like high energy fight scenes where people are actually doing the stunts, but I just really thought it was poorly done in John Wick 4. I know I'm alone on this. Most people liked the movie, and if they didn't like it, they're probably complaining about the narrative aspects more, but I'm not even going and expecting that. I'm like, just wow me with cool stuff. But I heard a lot of hubbub about this fight scene, the overhead view of John Wick clearing rooms with like
the dragon's breath shotgun. Yeah.
And then when it came up, I was like, I'm checked out. I didn't think it was that impressive. And I really think they should have focused on shortening it up and actually giving it some pacing, because so many fights in this movie are these one takes. But it reminded me, I'm not trying to be overly insulting to the movie, but it reminded me of watching the M. Night Shyamalan Last Airbender.
Oh.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, but I blocked it out of my memory.
It is full of long takes of these fight scenes that are insanely badly done.
Yes.
Way better done in John Wick, but it gave me that same feeling of like, wow, you really aren't at the place, Mr. Director, where you can't do this. This is really sagging for me. And I also thought the villain in the middle I thought that, just like John Wick 3, I thought that like divergence of, well, actually, there's no way to undo what you've done. We're all going to kill you. But there is this secret rule where actually if you go kill this guy, then you're let back in. And then there's this long, long scene of them just kind of like falling through concrete in the middle of some party. And I don't know. This felt like fan fiction to me. Like, it's like, oh, okay, we'll take the scene from John Wick 2 at the, thing in Venice or wherever it was. And
some of it did seem like a parody of a John Wick movie, especially, and I think he's a wrestler. I forget his name, but it's the guy in the fat suit that's playing poker.
I was so who is that guy?
I forget his name, but he does not look like that. And it's extremely obvious because he's just obviously a skinny dude who's dressed up to look like Chris Farley.
I was thinking, I'm like, okay, clearly it's a guy in a fat suit. It's well done for what it is, but you can tell like when when their face should be, like his face should be a lot fatter for how fat his body is. I was like, is that Colin Farrell doing like the penguin makeup?
Yes, that's actually very apt. That scene where he's just like, all right, John, if you beat me in this game of poker, I'll give you a fucking whatever. I don't know. It's just a MacGuffin. He's just like, you'll get cleared so you can do John Wick stuff again or whatever. Go back to your life. He's like, do you want to do that? Yeah. And he like beats poker with the dumbest, like most Casino Royale hand of all time.
I just remembered another complaint because you mentioned the John Wick. Yeah. Every character in this movie, again, fan fiction, it was just kind of like, I don't want to just use the word stale over and over again. And that really wouldn't be fair. But I felt that every character was just kind of the greatest hits of their thing. Lance Reddick is in the movie, not for a lot, but it's like, his dialogue is just very like, it has been an honor, sir. Yeah. And it's like trying to make you feel, I think, and then Lawrence Fishburne, it's like, well, what is his thing? He's like the homeless guy who like laughs all the time. So then he's just, every scene just.
And he's like, John Wick, as I live and breathe, the man, the myth, the legend. It's like, okay, you're just going to say like,
he's just doing greatest
lines.
hits.
Yeah, exactly.
And John Wick, this is the final John Wick movie. I thought it was kind of a piss poor send off. He doesn't really do or say anything of consequence in the entire movie. And I think 99% of his dialogue is, yeah, which is his thing. But again, like, we need more here. This is really just, this whole thing is being carried by your memory of the last movies. I think if you showed this movie to somebody and you told them what they needed to know, they wouldn't really find it emotional at the end.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel, I like this character, and I just, when it was over, I was like, I really cared way more about Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
Who's fantastic in this, by the way, doing blind acting. Very good blind acting.
Yes. And it's funny, I heard some criticisms about Donnie Yen where there's like, I didn't really like him. It's like, Donnie Yen is fantastic. Also, he's an industry legend.
Oh, yeah.
And the ending scene, which I won't give away, but it's, been online for a year now. Donnie Yen in the final scene with John Wick, I did like and enjoy. They're two stunt legends, on screen respecting each other in the movie and in real life. And so I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I'm surprised people had a problem with him. And maybe just because he brings like, he was big in like these Chinese movies, like for ages. And their style, like wuxia and all that, can be a lot more silly than John Wick. But John Wick also has some really silly moments, like stabbing a dude with a pencil.
Oh, sure.
And other shit like that. So I think he fits well. But some people are like, he's like crawling around. He's blind. He's placing like the sound traps and all that. I'm like, that's cool.
I thought that was awesome.
It's awesome and interesting. And that's what I want to see in John Wick.
There's a difference between unintentionally silly stuff and like, designed camp. And that's what all these movies have.
Yeah.
I thought every scene with Donnie Yen in it was the best. I was super engaged. I thought that his performance was good. Not that he's, a thespian actor, but I thought his performance was good. At no point was I like, this is just a stunt man. I was like, I like his character and everything. And like I said, fantastic blind acting, both in his just kind of regular mannerisms and when he's fighting. It was crazy believable that I didn't for a second question I was watching a blind man try to have a sword fight.
Yes.
It felt so authentic. And the sword fight that he has early on in the movie with the other Japanese guy, I forget his name. It's been a while since I've seen this now. Epic. I would say that even if you're not a fan of John Wick, it's worth going on YouTube and just watching Donnie Yen's action scenes because they're fantastic.
Yes. Japanese guy, by the way, just want to plug Hiroyuki Sanada. He was in Shogun as one of the main in the new Shogun, which I would recommend that miniseries. Okay. And I believe, was it Ronin, the 90s movie?
I haven't seen that.
He was in some.
Oh, actually, no, I have seen Ronin.
He was in some movie that was like an American-Japanese co-production where it's just like white people quirked up in Japan.
I think there's a Japanese movie called like The Ronin. Are you talking about the American movie Ronin?
I think he's in an American version. I think he might be in that. Or 47 Ronin, which I think is Keanu.
I don't know.
One of those. Anyway, he's been in some American movies, and I love seeing him. He's one of my favorite male Japanese actors.
Sword of Destiny, Crouching Tiger 2, his peak.
Is he in that?
Oh, wait, no, that was Donnie Yen.
That was Donnie Yen.
That was Donnie Yen.
That was Donnie Yen.
I didn't see
Do not sully Hiroyuki Sanada's name in my presence.
I wish Donnie Yen was in the first Crouching Tiger.
That'd be cool. Sick, yeah.
Watching him and Chow Yun-fat. Are him and Chow Yun-fat in anything that you know? Where they're doing cool sword shit?
I don't know, because Chow Yun-fat was a Hong Kong actor. He's been in mainland movies. Well,
they're also from like different generations. Well, not generations, but like movie generations. Like, he was popping in the late 90s.
Yeah, and then Chow Yun-fat, once he started getting popular, was probably late 80s, early 90s. But I don't know, because Chow Yun-fat is more into, like, they call it heroic bloodshed. Movies like Hard Boiled or The Killer, where people are killing each other with guns for good reasons, like cool cops diving over cars. And then Donnie Yen is more like wuxia and martial arts films.
Yeah, they're from different worlds, or like different genre, I guess, subgenres of the world of martial arts, or just like Asian people being awesome movies. But they both have a great presence. And I would love to see like I'd love to see a movie, like a John Wick style movie with Donnie Yen's character from John Wick 4 and Chow Yun-fat's character from Crouching Tiger. Dude. And we have AI, so we could make it now. It's
kind of a missed opportunity we didn't get Chow Yun-fat in a John Wick movie as Inspector Tequila. Just take him from Hard Boiled.
Dude, put Muhammad Ali. We have AI now. Put Muhammad Ali, put Bruce Lee, all the Lees. They can all be in John Wick. John Wick 5. Starring Ballerina. Oh, yeah, Ballerina. I forgot that existed.
Yeah, we did talk about Ballerina in one of our last catch-ups.
Yeah. Ana de Armas. I call her Ana de Armas.
You call her Gina de Mexico.
I did call her Gina de Mexico, didn't I? No, wait, I was talking about the other one, wasn't I? No, I was talking about her.
Yeah.
They're all the same. Michelle Rodriguez. Michelle Mexico.
Michelle Mexico.
Michelle Mexico. Let's get some more sake in those glasses. By the way, I also thought It Chapter 2 was bad in the movie. I did not like the villain in John Wick 4. And what was that accent? Like, he was like doing French and then sometimes doing British.
Yeah, so he's speaking French. I think he's meant to be French. It's Bill Skarsgård. He was whatever. I didn't hate him. But then again, a lot of the characters in these John Wick movies are very bare bones.
Oh, sure.
So I wasn't really offended at anything. And I mean, he's meant to be kind of like a spoiled brat who thinks he deserves everything.
I felt like he fell in between. It was like a drunk guy trying to stand himself up on two stools and couldn't do it and fell. I feel like one of the stools was that he was playing like the bitch kind of guy that like John Wick 1 had. And then the other version was he's playing the, I guess, unpredictable, hyper powerful, like as you called him, Elon Trump, Mark Ruffalo's character, Mickey 17 kind of guy. Mm-hmm. He's trying to, I guess, sort of be a balance of those things, but I just felt like he was nothing. I didn't find him scary. I didn't find him hateable. Honestly, I felt no emotion one way or the other towards him. I was like, I really don't care if he lives or dies. I don't think he's a very good villain. And I thought his acting performance was fine, but I thought his accent was so fucking distracting.
It was.
I just was watching an actor act, you know? I did not forget for a second that was Pennywise.
Yeah. Why even make him do a French accent? I mean, have him do, I mean, he probably has a Swedish accent too. Have him do just like what his dad does.
Yeah, make him like a cool Bond villain.
Like, John Wick, what are you doing here? Just do a Stellan.
Or have, who's the guy, Peter Stormare, I think is his name, from Fargo. He's still alive in this universe.
Yeah.
You know, bring him back or something. Give him, write some plot. Really do anything.
Yeah.
There's so many seasoned actors. Stellan Skarsgård, get Bill's dad. Literally anybody else could play a better villain and you would feel something. But I was just like, okay, get this fucking theater performer out of here.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
I watched Weapons a second time.
Oh, nice.
My parents recently watched Weapons and they started it and I was like, just kind of standing in the corner of the room. And I'm like, I'll just watch the first scene.
You were doing the dad thing of standing up with your arms crossed. You're like, oh, interesting.
I was doing exactly that.
Yeah.
And I stayed for the whole movie. Absolutely amazing. The second time, I didn't see more in it subtextually, but I noticed way more about the craft of how it was shot and everything because I knew the story, so I was able to just sort of pay attention to the cinephile things about it. And my God, Weapons is so good. I know we've hyped it up a lot on this show, but I just want to say, Weapons, go watch it. It's amazing. I really don't know anyone who wouldn't like it. My parents, who both have, similar in some ways, but different taste when it comes to thrillers and what they want to see with the consequences of those kinds of movies, both thought it was great. It satisfied, all quadrants. Amy Madigan, I wish you were going to win that Oscar in a couple weeks, but you won't, probably.
In our video, I predicted her to win. And looking back now, I'm just like, there's no way. There is a chance. There is some precedent with stuff she's won. But if she wins, that will be the highlight, I think, of the decade. Where I'm like, finally. But it's not going to happen.
It's probably not going to happen.
So the evil Safdie split off and made a movie. And then the good, I shouldn't say good, the less evil Safdie made Marty Supreme. But evil Safdie decided, hey, I'm going to make a movie about Mark Kerr, one of the pioneers of MMA, called The Smashing Machine. And I have a gripe with this title. There was an HBO documentary at the start of the 2000s called The Smashing Machine, which is extremely hard to find now because it's not streaming, even on HBO, and it has the same fucking title. I hate this shit. I know his name is The Smashing Machine, but why make a movie just the same title as this documentary
it's been
series?
Taken already.
I hate that. That's my little nitpick. Yeah, this is bad. I watched this and I had really low hopes, but this was around the time when it started to get on streaming that people said, oh, Dwayne Johnson, no, he's coming for that Oscar. It's possible. And I'm like, Dwayne Johnson is coming for an Oscar. Are you fucking kidding me? And then I saw it and I was like, wow, these people have a brain bleed. He is really bad in this. He is the entire, let me state my case because I think you'll agree once I say this. His entire performance is just advertising the MMA. Because he loves wrestling and fighting as a whole, but every single line is like him talking to an old lady who's like, who are you? Why are you doing steroids? He's like, yeah, well, I'm a fighter in the MMA, and yeah, it's like mixed martial arts, and it's a great thing. It's people to be part of. And I'm like, I know he's probably acting how Mark Kerr did in real life, but then an hour in, I'm just like, okay, so he's just fighting and advertising. Like, what am I meant to take from this at this point? It just seemed like a very terrible advertisement for the MMA.
I didn't see that scene as an advertisement. I think that was just, it's a bad scene. Everything about this movie, I think, really, really fucking sucks, except Dwayne Johnson. Not that I think he's amazing or deserved an Oscar or anything, but I think he's okay. And I think your complaint isn't really due to his performance. That's just him performing what's handed to him. Now, he didn't have to accept this role in this shitty script, but who wouldn't turn down if you're in his position, it's like, all right, I need an escape route from just doing skyscraper sequels.
Sure.
So, I guess I'll accept this. So, okay, he's in it, fine. I think he's the best part. Not, again, that he's amazing, but I think he's giving a perfectly serviceable performance. I believed him as this character, but holy shit, this thing was one of the worst experiences I had this year watching a movie. I've seen way worse movies, but I think I hated just about everything about how this was done. This was kind of similar to the Dave Chappelle thing about laziness. I think this is the biopic equivalent of The Unstoppable. This is The Unstoppable 2, starring Dwayne Johnson as Marker. I wrote very few notes here, but I stand by them all. This wins the Smashing Machine Award for smashing my fucking penis. This is the most aimless, directionless, and I mean directionless in both senses of the word.
Yeah.
Just phoned in it's trying to be like it's trying to be the cliched sports character study biopic thing that doesn't really focus on the matches because it's more about the person, a la like Foxcatcher or something.
Sure.
But holy shit, this movie has nothing going on in it. I got like 30 minutes in and I was thinking to myself, what am I even here for?
Yeah.
Because I'm not learning anything about him other than what you can pick up on through his behavior, which is really just Dwayne Johnson's performance of, I think, doing a convincing job of playing someone who just can't really accept failure, but not in like a crybaby way. He's just kind of, he has like just that's walled off in his brain. And he's just like, yeah, I'm a positive guy. I keep going and what, outside of that, which you get from the first scene, there is nothing to latch onto here. I thought this was just, again, phoned in filler. I don't think Benny Safdie can write a script. I think that watching this and Marty Supreme, everyone's made this point already, but it's just so evident that 90% of what makes the Safdie brothers good is Josh and Ronald Braunstein, because holy shit.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt is terrible in this movie.
Yes.
Horrible.
Okay, so this reminds me, on SNL, they did a sketch, I think on Weekend Update, where I think it was like Heidi Gardner. She was doing a character and it's just like the wife of a boxer in a movie. And every line was, I'm taking the kids to my sisters.
Yes.
That's exactly what Emily Blunt is doing in this. Every single thing. She's just like, Mark, what are you doing? You're taking too much steroids. And he's like, shut the fuck up, bitch. And she's like, I'm going to my sisters. Every single scene with her is that.
The most cliche, just she's Oscar fishing way hard. I mean, Dwayne Johnson kind of is. To be fair to Dwayne, he doesn't do what Jamie Lee Curtis does in another 2025 movie we watched where she is constantly just inserting heightened emotional drama into a scene to get Oscar clips where it really doesn't make sense. Like Dwayne Johnson is, I think, he's clearly fishing for it, but he's being respectful about it. Emily Blunt is just swinging for an Oscar here and doing one of the most, like, speaking of another SNL thing, it reminded me of Scarlett Johansson's SNL bit, the Marble Columns commercials. Like, it's the same bit, basically. Just like, we're from fucking New Jersey. I'm going to my sister's. Like,
yeah,
that's the perfect analogy, Nick. I was watching it going, this cannot be real. I must be dreaming because this is if I had no imagination and you just told me this movie was bad, this is exactly what I would picture. I'd go, well, it's going to be like all handheld for no reason, which it is. Benny, just like Chloe Zhao, just super film student, the way this is shot, just everything's handheld. Everything is jump cuts, like the Sean Baker kind of editing. There's really no story of any kind. It's just, we're just observing behavior of these characters, but they're not doing anything. Emily Blunt, huge no for me. Matt Damon can never be trusted. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast. There was a clip going around of him talking about how he recommended this movie to Christopher Nolan. And he said, it's Emily Blunt's best performance. And he tells the story that Christopher Nolan looked at him like he was crazy and was like, I think she was probably better in Oppenheimer, my movie.
My movie that actually won all these awards, and you're dumb and gay.
It was just a lifeless, terribly edited by Benny Safdie also.
Yeah.
Horribly edited movie. Even the opening titles, by the way, were bad. It was like the font looked terrible. It looked like an iMovie, like just basic.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
You're stirring a memory in me. I remember looking at them like, did I get the Brazilian copy?
Fuck this movie. It's so terrible.
The one thing that I will praise this movie for, and I forget, did this get nominated for an Oscar for Best Makeup?
Yes.
Because that is the one I agree with. I think the makeup turning Dwayne Johnson to Mark Kerr is fantastic.
Pretty good.
And when you see comparison photos, I mean, Dwayne Johnson, I think, has a different like head shape, and that kind of takes a little bit away, but you can't do too much about that. I think it looked fantastic. I think it actually deserves that nomination. If it goes to win, sure, I don't know. But I think that I didn't really like anything else in this movie. I think the entire plot is just kind of meandering and not really all that interesting, because I forget exactly what it was, but they leave out a lot of his fights that are very pivotal, because he says something like, I don't lose. But before he says that, he, in real life, lost a bunch of times. So they're doing this editing thing of just like, I forget what technique you call it, but basically they're leaving stuff out just to make the narrative like, the Iron Claw did this, which is a better wrestling movie. They leave out an entire brother in that movie that existed and was a wrestler. And I think he is in some cut scenes. But why just leave an entire person out so you can just change, like, some people call that emotionally manipulative.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't, but...
Why are you making this movie if you have to change the true story to tell the story?
To tell...
It means maybe it's not movie worthy.
Yeah, to tell a slightly different story that the guy himself probably wouldn't have said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had a problem with Smashing Machine. I thought this was terrible. I think it's the worst Safdie movie I've seen, and I haven't seen Heaven Knows What or Daddy Long Legs, but I can't watch any more Jewish bullshit.
I've seen both. Heaven Knows What is not good, but it's way better. This is the worst thing they've ever... either Safdie's ever been affiliated with.
That's good.
And Daddy Longlegs is good. And it stars Ronald Bronstein, by the way.
Which one is the guy with the trumpet? Is that Heaven Knows What, the cut one? Where it's like, you're nothing. Who the hell are you?
I don't recognize what you're describing. Are you talking about Buddy Rich's character in Heaven Knows What?
No. I think there was a cut scene. For people, there's like the angry trumpet guy. He's like a meme.
Oh, the Adam Friedland guy.
Yes.
Oh,
it's funny you know him as the Adam Friedland guy.
Well, yeah, I knew him from the trumpet video first, but I don't know his name. But people would probably recognize him from that clip or Adam Friedland show.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forget.
I think it's Heaven Knows What, but it's deleted.
I don't know about this.
This is my autism kicking in. Guys, fact check me right now. Send me an email if I'm right about this. I think I am.
By the way, Smashing Machine, one of the most excruciatingly endings I've seen.
Oh. When they show the real Mark Kerr just having CTE in fucking Walgreens, that blew my mind. So, guys, let me set this thing here. After the movie ends and is gay and stupid, they just have the real life Mark Kerr. They have like cameras following him, like documentary style, just buying food.
Yeah.
And he's like just kind of talking to himself the entire time going, man, that's crazy. And he gets into his car and he's like, okay, guys, goodbye.
This is all just like an outline of a movie. It's like, okay, well, what's my first instinct? I guess in my biopic, it'll end and then we'll get some cinema verite footage of the guy just living his normal life to really underline the point that he's just a normal guy now. Mm-hmm. But it's just like these horribly filmed angles of, him being gay in Walgreens or whatever. And then he gets in his car and backs out. He like waves at the camera and drives off. And oh my God, everything about this offended me. I don't know how I got through it, by the way, because usually like something that makes me feel half this much emotion negatively, I go, I can't. It's not good for my soul. My heart can't take it. Mm-hmm. But this movie put me into a weird trance where I was kind of forced to keep watching it because I was just like, I kind of just needed to know. I was like, this can't only be this, because the reviews are middling. Or, they're actually like a little better than middling.
Decent, I would say.
Yeah, it seems to like on most like review aggregators, it has somewhere like between like a 6 and a 7 out of 10. Unbelievable. This thing is like a 2.
Yes.
Out of 200.
Yeah, and I would feel like I wouldn't even call this really a dad movie, like your dad would be watching and be like, yeah, it was good. I feel like most dads who know about, martial arts or boxing, like my dad, would be like, this is kind of boring and bad.
Yeah. I can't picture anyone watching this and liking it. Unless you're just Matt Damon. It's
kind of surprising that Matt Damon found this so captivating.
It's because he's friends with her husband, John Krasinski. Oh. So he's partial. That's probably, I bet that has to be it. Mm. Unless you're going in with a reason to just already be liking it, in which case you wouldn't even need to watch it. You just go, Smash Machine, it was great. 6'7", dude. 6'7".
Dude. Shawty trifling. So, one of 2 movies that I turned off this year is Blue Moon.
Whoa.
I wanted to get through this, but I found it excruciating, as you would say. Just going through the motions. And I'll say this. Ethan Hawke's performance, I thought was good. I enjoyed watching him on screen. And I can't say too much about this movie because, like I said, I didn't finish it, so I don't think it's fair for me to give it a score. But for the record, I was like, what are we doing here? Yeah. And I turned it off because it was it's filmed, from what I saw, only in one location, in a bar in New York City, I believe, on the opening of Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And I forget this guy's name. He's a real dude, but
something Hart.
Yeah, I forget. But anyway, I found this extremely grating, and just I felt like, how much more can I learn from watching this guy be sad in a bar? I was halfway through, and he was talking to E.B. White, I believe.
Maybe.
Anyway, point is, I saw that, and he basically was like, oh, you're so good. Because I think he's Jewish or something like that. Anyway. And he's just talking to Bobby Cannavale, who I have to say something about Bobby Cannavale.
Oh, yeah?
I do not like watching him. He plays the same character in every single fucking movie. Yeah. And in, The Irishman or, Motherless Brooklyn, which is a movie I like more than most people, he's fine. But when he's in Blue Jasmine being like, hey, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? Gets on my nerves immediately. And here is a bartender being like, oh, what the fuck? I can't.
Terrible.
I can't watch it. And then, oh my God, the guy playing the piano who's like a soldier looked exactly like Michael Malice. Do you know who that is?
No.
So Michael Malice is a guy that Joe Rogan had on a bunch who is like a literal anarchist in the truest sense.
Okay.
And he's a funny, interesting guy, but I thought, like, is that fucking Michael Malice? Why is he in this movie? It's not. But it's a guy who looks extremely like him. Like he's in Michael Malice prosthetics, which I thought was hilarious. Guys, look him up. I'm not fibbing right now. But yeah, like I said, I can't say too much more about this because I turned it off. I didn't like it.
How far did you get in, like percentage-wise, do you think?
When he was talking to the author and they finished their conversation, I was like...
That's like halfway, probably.
It was halfway. I'd say it's about halfway.
Yeah. Yeah, you've seen the whole movie once you've watched about 10 minutes of it. Mm-hmm. It's really repetitive.
I get the idea that he's in a bar being sad and he wants to have like a human connection that he can't get.
This is really just stretched thin. It's the SNL silly putty thing. It's just like, okay, how do we make this last for a whole movie? This guy is sad because his writing partner ended their partnership to go make this musical. This other guy, Hammerstein, and they made Oklahoma, which is going to be a big hit. And then as fate would have it, Rodgers and Hammerstein went on to make many musicals that were popular. And this guy died in a ditch.
Yeah.
And so you're going to watch Ethan Hawke do, yeah, I agree, a good performance playing this kind of obnoxious gay guy sitting in a bar, and there's this after party for the musical happening upstairs, and he talks to this character for 5 minutes, then talks to that character, then goes back to the bar, then goes here. And I just found it completely dull. I got to the end of it. I kind of was able to stick through it because of Ethan Hawke's performance. I was just kind of, his character, as irritating as he is, there's something kind of charming about the way, like, just watching a good actor deliver a very, like, verbal performance well kind of captivated me. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I just found it to be kind of just in one ear out the other. I don't think there's really an interesting story here. There's, like, no conflict. Bobby Cannavale is terrible in this, playing just the most cliched, I'm the fucking bartender that's fucking cool with everybody, right?
Yeah.
I think I've talked before on this podcast. I really love his performance in season 3 of Boardwalk Empire, and I really don't care for anything else he's ever done. I think that's the only time that he actually like created a character, but every other time it's just, yeah, like you said, him just being like, oh, what the fuck? Oh,
hey, yeah.
Just playing this Guido idiot. I thought that all of in addition to the Stuart Little scene, so there's a scene where this author is talking, he's like, oh, I'm trying to find inspiration for my book. And Ethan Hawke's like, oh, I have a white mouse who I call Stuart, and he's, little. And the author's like, say that again. Oh my God. There's another moment. I don't know if you clocked this. Did you notice the director cameo in the middle of the movie? George Roy Hill?
No.
So he's not really known to cinephiles, even though he should be. He's not really known to cinephiles because his last relevant movies were made in like the 70s. But he's the director of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting, which he won an Oscar for. And there's a scene where George Roy Hill, they introduce him as, that was his credited name, his 3-name fucker. But they introduce like, oh, this is my friend, George Hill. And I was like, what? Say that again. He walks over, he talks to Ethan Hawke for a minute, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to make this picture, this romance. And it takes place in like, early to mid 50s or something. Mm-hmm. And Butch Cassidy came out in 1969. And George Hill's character is like, oh yeah, we want to make a picture. He's talking like Scorsese kind of. And he says, it's a love story, I think. I think I want to make love stories. And then Ethan Hawke goes, you want to make money, make a movie about friendship, which would end up being his first big hit, Butch Cassidy. And I was like, oh, fuck off. And the movie is full of shit like that.
He was behind the scene. It literally is Say That Again, the movie, from what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
I don't think I got to that scene, by the way. Okay. I don't remember him talking to a director.
Maybe it's right after there were like 2 of them in a row, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I think Andrew Scott, I want to give some praise. I think Andrew Scott does a good American accent. I have a frequent gripe with British actors that they just can't do American accents. He plays Rodgers, the partner.
Oh, okay.
He's in a lot of things. I thought he did a good American accent. I thought he was fine in it. Ethan Hawke, again, good. The character gets really old really fast. He's just this rambly, boring, sad man. And yeah, we get it already. This did not need to be a movie. And it's the definition of Oscar bait.
It seems like it's written like a play. Like we talked about a lot of David Mamet movies, or we were talking about like Henry Johnson, where it takes place in like one location.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I can definitely see that this was a play first, or was meant to, probably would exist better, where everything would work in one location. But yeah, I was just like, what do we do? I don't like if you are going to film something in one location that is like character driven, where the characters doing back and forth, I should like the characters. I didn't find them terrible and annoying, but I can't have the bartender being like, "Oh, you're drinking. What the fuck? You're being gay." Oh, he does that every 5 minutes, by the way. He's like, "Don't be talking about no dude's butthole." And yeah, extremely grating. Maybe as a play, I actually would have liked this if there were better performances. But yeah, like I said, Ethan Hawke, I'm not mad that he got nominated for this. I didn't love the movie, but he is giving it his all.
Yeah.
So sometimes you give a good performance in a shit movie. It happens.
Yeah. Weirdly, I've seen some articles lately that people are like, is Ethan Hawke going to win the Oscar because people are annoyed with Timothée Chalamet's marketing campaign? And it's like, No. Are you high?
You have Down syndrome if you think that. There's no way that Ethan Hawke is winning.
He's a good actor, and he'll probably win an Oscar at some point, and he would deserve one, but this is not that special for him. Like, he's done tons of things that are way better than this. I really don't understand the people who are like stans of this movie.
Yeah, you know what I'm just realizing right now? So Richard Linklater directed this. He also directed another movie this year called Nouvelle Vague, which is New Wave, about the French New Wave with like Godard and all those people. That is also a Say That Again type movie because it's like, it has him and like his journey from Cahiers du Cinema and all this stuff where it's just like, oh, what are you, like, you're going to leave him breathless, Godard? And he's like, say that again. Well, you got a man and a woman that's masculine and feminine. Whoa, what? That's basically that movie. Yeah. So what? Richard Linklater 0 for 2 this year, it seems.
He also Linklater made another Say That Again movie called Me and Orson Welles.
Oh yeah,
and it was written by the same guy who wrote Blue Moon. He's written 2 like produced features, and that was the other one. And that's also a movie where Orson Welles is just standing around, and someone's like, "Man, you're like some kind of like citizen." He's like, "What? Oh my god."
Yeah. What are you standing there, citizen, with your cane?
I feel like the third wheel, the third man here. Say it again. It's just bullshit. God, fuck movies.
I love this. I love doing that bit. It's so good.
It's crazy how like everyone makes fun of Walk Hard.
Yeah.
Think of like, I gotta think about my childhood before I can perform. But really, the Say That Again shtick is way out of control.
It is.
With these filmmakers.
Yes. It's a certain point where it drops like an entire star in my brain when they have like a drop like that. Like, oh, what was Oppenheimer had a really bad one where it's Robert Downey Jr. They're saying like, oh, one senator voted against you. This guy who's like an up and comer, John F. Kennedy. It's like, shut the fuck up. That's so corny.
Yeah.
And there's no way he said that, by the way. Yeah. Finally, getting back on topic, we both saw Begonia, the new Yorgos Lanthimos film.
Yes, we did.
I liked it. I don't think it's one of my favorites of his. I like it better than Dogtooth, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I know it's kind of sacrilegious to say for some Yorgos fans. Poor Things, 10 out of 10. Best he's ever done. Loved it. Took my mom and little brother to see it, which is a great family outing.
Yeah.
But my mom loved it too. So mom, if you're listening, Poor Things, enjoyed it immensely. Begonia, I think is pretty solid. I have some problems with it. Mainly, well, there's one thing that sticks out that I guess I'll just talk about now. Most of the cast is fantastic.
Yes.
And then one person is cast as a police officer, and it brings down the entire film.
Absolutely.
Because he's the worst actor by a country mile.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of... So the person we're talking about is Stavros Halkias from Cumtown. He is... It's kind of baffling how he was cast in this because he said in interviews, oh, I didn't go through like any, like, I didn't read lines for this. Yorgos called for me specifically.
Yes.
And I know they're both Greek and they're both perverts. But I
and
really...
They're both fat.
And they're both fat and... I don't get why Yorgos wanted him because he can't act. I saw Stavros' movie Let's Start a Cult and he's not good in it.
Yeah.
It's a comedy movie, so I'm not going to judge it too harshly, but I really don't see what he's seeing in this if it's not like just like Greek nepotism.
Yeah.
I don't know what else it could be because if you're calling, for example, he's worked with Emma Stone a ton of times already. He's not going to make her read lines for Begonia. He's just like, oh, you're fantastic. You're in.
Yeah.
Probably same with Jesse Plemons. Well, he was in Kinds of Kindness.
He was.
Well. Yeah. So he's like, whatever. I don't see it. And it's funny because there's an actual in this movie who acts better than Stavros. The guy playing Jesse Plemons' younger cousin.
Does he actually talk that way?
He is an actual actor with autism. That is not a voice he's putting on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could kind of tell that he was on the spectrum somehow, some way, but I couldn't tell if he was playing up his speech. Because it seems authentic, but also like a good actor could do that,
Sure, yes. And this, I think, is his first role ever. So he must have read for this, I assume. He didn't just go to the street corner and be like, hey, you're playing with trains.
He fits perfectly in the
He's
cast.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget his name right now, but I kind of regret calling him a now.
No, I didn't write down his name. We'll just call him.
You sure? When I have to bleep that 20 times during this. Yeah. No, but he's great. I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was perfectly cast.
I agree. I think the cast is really good, except Stav. There's really 4 actors in this movie in any kind of meaningful way. And thankfully, Stav is barely in it, but holy shit, he is so fucking distracting. Even if I didn't know who he was, I would come out of it and say, ugh. But the fact that I know it's him and how he talks and everything just made it worse. The stunt casting of him, I really don't understand at all. I can imagine that Yorgos probably convinced himself of that thing, the Scorsese thing of like, if you have a kind of nothing character in your movie, give it to a comedian and they'll kind of make it interesting. Like that's a thing Scorsese's done many times and other filmmakers have done it too. And maybe he just thought that it would work out and maybe it is exactly what he wanted. Maybe the way he envisioned that character coming off is how Stav played it. But I really think it's a terrible choice.
Yeah.
Really brings down otherwise a pretty decent movie. I agree it's not Yorgos' best, but it's not the worst. I don't like Dogtooth. And I saw Dogtooth before The Lobster, you know, because oh yeah, we talked about this maybe on the podcast. I forget, but I was a fan of these critics who reviewed that movie and I was like, oh, what's this? This is interesting. And I watched it and I was like, this is boring. I kind of like his movie Alps a little better. It is kind of a Lobster-esque premise of like, what if in society this one thing were different that would affect how people could live and what. It's interesting enough, but I love The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Favorite. I thought that was just like the best, you know, one movie after another year director run probably ever. I know people credit that to Denis Villeneuve all the time with like Sicario to Arrival to Blade Runner, but I really thought that was just like amazing. And then Poor Things, excellent. I loved that too. Kinds of Kindness was okay. This is better than that. It has fantastic performances, but I did want it to have more. When it was over, I felt like it was missing something. Yeah. And I get that, and it's a nitpick, but I don't think it doesn't have that, like, it just doesn't have this satisfying, I didn't have this satisfied feeling that I have with the rest of his good movies. It felt like there was just some passion missing, I guess.
If I had to tell what I thought was missing from this movie, I think it's I didn't love the ending. I'm still thinking about if I liked it or hated it. I'm on the fence about it. I think an ending has a lot to do with how people perceive a movie after it is, because I mean, it is one part of a movie, but I think it's one of the most important parts of a movie, probably the most important. I think it's a little bit messy, and I don't mind what happened, but I wanted a little more.
Without giving anything away, and it's difficult to do because if you're a smart listener, you could easily be accidentally spoiled if we say even a little bit about it.
Yeah.
The ending has a quality to it. It's not the same as the One Battle After Another ending, not to the same degree, but it has a similar type of flaw where I sat up and I went, wait, how would this... There's a thing that a character knows at a certain point in the movie that it doesn't really make sense while watching it or thinking about it after how they could know that and how they could have arrived at that conclusion with the information they had at that point. That's kind of really all I can say. The ending itself, I thought it was fine, but there was a voice in my head going, wait, how did that thing happen that way? Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And I think that the more analytical brained viewers will probably have the similar kind of critique, but it doesn't like bring down the movie. I would recommend it generally to most people. I think it's worth watching. I
would say so. If you're one of those people who liked Poor Things, like if that's one of your favorite Yorgos, I would recommend this. It's more in the vein, like a funny vein, I would say, compared to serious. Like The Lobster is more serious, I would say. There's funny parts of it. I'd say this leans more on the Poor Things side. So if you didn't like The Lobster, but you did like Poor Things, I would recommend seeing it. But if you want something more serious, I wouldn't. But if you're not a fan of Yorgos and you like more serious things, I wouldn't really recommend it. Yeah. One thing I do want to recommend is this movie is a remake of a Korean movie called Save the Green Planet. And because this movie did so well, that Korean movie actually got like a new American like physical release.
Oh, nice.
And you can stream it a lot of places right now. You might have to pay for it, but from what I've heard, people who have seen Begonia and Save the Green Planet say they prefer the original. And the CEO in this one, instead of Emma Stone, is a man. And I think the dichotomy between like the brother and the cousins is the same. but you don't have Stavros in it. And people said that the original, it's not a one-for-one remake. I think big plot elements are different, and I won't say more than that. But if you want to see, if you didn't care for Begonia, I'd recommend watching the original and see if you like that.
This is much better than the other Succession writers movie, in my opinion. The writer, I think his name is Will Tracy. I forget exactly. The show Succession, which I'm a big fan of, had not that many writers. And one of them was this guy, Cord Jefferson, who went on to make his first movie 2 years ago called American Fiction, which it's fine, but I thought it was just way overpraised. And he won an Oscar for writing the adaptation. He also directed it. And this guy also wrote on Succession, and this is his first post-Succession thing. And I think it's a much better script. It's going to lose the Oscar to One Battle After Another, but I think it would be a more deserving pick. And also, the last thing I have to say about Begonia, I also rewatched Sinners, and I also rewatched Begonia. My mom watched Begonia recently, and I watched most of it with her. And seeing those two next to each other, the fact that Jesse Plemons did not get nominated for this, and Michael B. Jordan did, is the biggest capital N sin that I have ever experienced.
Dude, these fucking,
in the year of 2025.
These fucking sinners that run the Academy. Yeah, that was a big thing on the announcement day, is that people were like, Jesse Plemons got snubbed. Mm-hmm. I forget who it was. There was some actress who's like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like, she was extremely mad. They were interviewing her the day it came out, the hour.
Was it his wife, Kirsten Dunst?
No, I think it was somebody else.
I know she made a thing because Timothy Chalamet said, this is top level shit I'm doing. And she made a post where it clipped that and said, this is top level shit, but playing over his Jesse Plemons' image.
Yeah. Oh, I think, because Kirsten Dunst also, Stavros said something about, I'm going to kill the Academy or whatever. And then Kirsten Dunst, reposted that on Instagram. I don't think he said that, but same sentiment. Yeah, Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone are bouncing, off of each other, their personality. Their back and forth is fantastic, especially during a dinner scene. Probably one of my favorite arguments I've seen in a movie in recent years.
Yeah.
They are just powerhouse actors just going bar for bar. And if you like to see smart, intelligently written dialogue delivered by actors who are very confident in what they believe, which I think is a big point because Jesse Plemons in the lore of the movie is meant to be portrayed as this conspiracy theorist. And then Emma Stone is this very secure in her ideas CEO. Mm-hmm. But they're both working at 100% capacity the entire time. And it's so nice to see. Yeah. It's I was glued to the screen when they were talking to each other. I'm like, oh, this is so great. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the best aspect of them too.
It's not a straw man movie. I had a similarly to Eddington, something to praise about this movie. It actually does kind of give decent weight to different points of view about these kinds of... Yeah. Not like the things discussed in Begonia are actual cultural issues that matter at all. But it doesn't just straw man one side to just be look how stupid this is. Jesse Plemons' character is crazy, but also intelligent. And I love that it was a believable balance.
Yes. This is a secret that people don't understand. And they do this in Marty Supreme too. It is always interesting to watch a character who maybe does bad things, but is secure in his beliefs because he believes them. It's the same thing in a comic acting where the guy saying it shouldn't believe that it's funny. He should believe that it's true, but the fact that he believes it's true is funny.
Yeah.
So fantastic direction on part of that, fantastic writing. Begonia, I've seen has been getting kind of middling reviews from other Yorgos fans and people in general. And I don't know if some people have problems with the conspiracy aspect. I have seen that once or twice, but I don't want to put words in their mouths. I think it's kind of vaguely overhated at the moment, but it is getting good reviews, so I don't want to say that too much.
I didn't even know it was getting hate. I haven't seen... not that it doesn't exist. That's just not in my world. As far as I knew, people just loved the movie. And, it's good.
Broadly, yeah.
It's good. I think people taking issue with it about not even that it's political, but if people make it into a political thing, they're really just trying to do that.
They are.
Really is not that at all.
There's no left versus right thing here.
No.
At all.
No.
I watched a very good documentary this year on HBO Max called The Alabama Solution. I saw this got nominated and I said, okay, well, I watched one of the other documentaries, The Perfect Neighbor. And I was like, well, this is bad, but I think it's going to win the Oscar. And I saw this got nominated, and then people I trust said, oh, this is really good. And I said, okay, I have free time. We're doing an episode on this anyway, so I might as well watch it. Yeah. Fantastic documentary. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, there was this huge strike in the Alabama prisons where all the inmates refused to work.
Yes.
So this is what the movie's about. This is about the lead up and the aftermath to that, and the documentary crew that kind of just by chance got involved in this. So it starts off where this crew is filming something that the Alabama prisons do once a year, which is like this big barbecue for all the prisoners. And all the people who, have been good can go out, barbecue, and all the wardens and everybody are out there. And it's, the kind of their day of relaxation. During the course of filming this, one of the prisoners walks up to somebody in the crew and says, "You guys need to do something about this. Our conditions here are so terrible." And being documentary filmmakers are like, "Well, okay, interesting. You just told me something. So tell me what's going on." They're like, "Well, right now we live in these quarters that have no air conditioning. It's Alabama. It can get up like to 100 degrees, even higher. We have rats, mold in our cells, and people are doing nothing about it. And regardless of what you think about prisoners, they should be in a cell that isn't just like full of rats. I mean, barring like the child rapists and stuff.
Yes.
But the guy who's like, I don't know, committed tax fraud or something. Not that these brothers committed tax fraud, I'd be saying. They should at least have livable conditions."
And to add on to that, I know a little bit about this situation outside of the documentary. Is this covered in your documentary, the thing about burning their mattresses? Do they cover that?
Not specifically that.
This is a thing that happens, I believe it is Alabama and probably other southern states. It's a thing that happens in a lot of these prisons where it's like, it's a 90% black population, where they don't give like medicine to there's prisoners who like need certain medications to live, or who have like, they have a heart attack and they pass out and like the guards just don't come and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so prisoners have to like pass lighters. They have to have lighters on them so that they can literally like start fires in their cells, so that the guards have to do something, because people will just drop dead of all kinds of things in these situations. Because it's just the mindset in that part of the country is basically like, well, I mean, these are cattle, these are goyim. So the black goyim, basically, how they see it. And so they just go, hey, who really gives a shit? And it's like the absolute bare minimum of taking care of a prisoner is just the bar is way lower than in a more affluent part of the country, like where we live.
Yes. And regardless of what you think of the law, the police and the prison they do have a duty to take care of the prisoners and give them like livable conditions. Yeah. If that means just having a bed and a toilet, that's fine. But one thing I love about this documentary is once they make contact with the people inside the prison, most of the documentary is filmed on illegally smuggled in cell phones, which I thought was extremely interesting. I've never seen that before. And there's one guy who I think is kind of like a born-again Muslim who is a very outspoken guy with this other dude who's been in solitary for like 10 fucking years, which is insane. Mm-hmm. He's filming something. He's like, yeah, I'm in my cell here. I've got this Gatorade bottle full of like 2 baby rats. I set a rat trap here because prisoners are pretty crafty, make their own traps. And he's just like, yeah, so I got these rats in here and they're coming in through a hole. I've told the warden guards multiple times that the rats are coming in. They say, okay, what? What do you want us to do? And he's like, not have rats in my fucking cell. Yeah. So they are living in extreme squalor. There's one story that they focus on of a white prisoner who gets killed by the guards. They claim that he pulled a knife and the guard just like stomped his head in, which is extremely bad. Not what the guards are taught to do. And they even have like some...
you have to clarify that that's bad. Just stomp their head.
Well, okay. Like they don't teach you that in police academy. Yeah. It's just like, all right, baton, taser, stomp his head in like American History X.
Unlike the kneel on the neck, which they do teach in the handbook, which Derek Chauvin couldn't show at his trial.
It was inadmissible.
Yes.
Anyway, they do follow this family trying to get justice for their son. And they show like a deposition of the guard who killed him. And like the investigators talking to him, it's like, so why did you do that? And he goes, oh, it's in our handbook to do that. And he's like, no, it's not. No, you do not kick a guy in the head and stomp his head. And he's like, well, what? Yeah. And then he gets off completely scot-free. And I don't want to say more about the documentary because this is one thing that as you watch it, the information isn't well known to the public. So I won't say too much. But this goes through the lead up to the strike and the aftermath of it and some of the main characters in there. Alabama, I had known for a long time. Alabama, Mississippi, and one other state that I forget it, maybe Oklahoma, have like the highest rates of incarceration and also like the worst human development index. So Alabama is like the worst state to get arrested. It's like 50 out of 50 for places to live. And funny enough, some of the 3 best states to live are Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Can you guess why? Interesting. Yeah. But no, this is one of those things that I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was this bad. This is one of those things that if you showed your like conservative dad who was just like, execute every prisoner right now for like trying to jack a car, which I don't 100% disagree with. But if you even showed him this, he'd be like, holy shit, I didn't know it was this bad. This is really bad. So very eye-opening documentary. I don't want to say too much, but if you were ever interested in the prison system and the failings of it and for-profit prisons and wardens that are just completely corrupt, I would recommend Alabama Solution. It's on HBO Max.
I want to recommend another documentary that I don't even know the name of, but you could find it easily. It's produced by Rock Nation, Jay-Z's company. It's called Exposing Blank, the name of the prison. And it's not the word parchment, obviously, but it's something like that. It's similar, covers similar topic. And I know somebody, I have a former coworker who met a black guy in like a dating app who is currently serving in that prison that this documentary was made about.
Whoa.
And he was interviewed in this documentary, an interview was filmed for this documentary that is not in the movie. I mean, I'm just taking her word for it. I haven't seen it, but she talked about how she watched it and that what she learned from this guy that she's been talking with who has a cell phone in prison, which I think it's like 10 years automatically added to your sentence if you get found with that. He got arrested in the late 90s for marijuana possession. Had no like criminal history or whatever, wasn't a dealer or anything. He's just a guy who bought weed, got pulled over for probably something like just, routine traffic stop essentially. And there was
tail light, whatever.
Hey, I smell weed, okay, prison, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's never gotten out because he got caught with the cell phone he had in like the late aughts. And it added so much time to his sentence that then when they were talking, she was like, well, why do you still have, he's like, I'm never going to get out of this fucking prison. And his story that he told her is he's like, well, I've had years added for this, for that, for this. And basically just like, if you survive in the prison, you're going to do something that you can get busted on and kept there. And it's essentially like, not to get too woke on you, it's basically just slavery.
Yeah.
Because they work you really hard. You don't get paid. I mean, in Washington state, I believe if you essentially volunteer yourself to do work, you can get like, you don't get necessarily cash in your bank, but maybe you get like money put on a card that you can buy snacks with. Yeah, that kind of thing. Or you get privileges, extra time in the library, whatever you call it. They don't get any compensation of any kind for this kind of work. And you're basically put in a situation where if you do anything that quote unquote breaks the rules, you can get time added, you can be punished, and you're going to stay in the system longer. But breaking the rules, really, you just have to like lay down and die to not break the rules because everything is against the rules. And she told me all this stuff. I mean, she wasn't only telling me, she actually told this story in this like group training because she just went off on a tangent about all this. And I was like, oh, interesting, whatever. And I kind of stored this away in the back of my mind. And that was the week that I read The Nickel Boys, which is about kind of, not the same, but similar type of thing. And I was like, oh, damn, America really is racist.
It is. And yeah, I mean, people may have ideas about us, but we're woke in some sense of, I think that if you go to prison, they should take care of you in some sense.
Yeah.
Because I do want to say this. People think that slavery is illegal in the United States because of the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments passed after the Civil War. Incorrect. The amendment says slavery, except for as punishment of a crime, is illegal, which means that when you're a prisoner, they can force you to do slave labor. This is legal. They talk about this in the documentary. Some of these people in Alabama, if you're smart enough, you are doing like housework. And it's really funny because they talk about the governor of Alabama, this one woman, is running on this thing of like, we're cleaning the streets up and these dangerous people are behind bars. And guess who's working on the construction of the governor's mansion that she lives in? The prisoners in this prison. Yeah. And so she's saying that they're too dangerous to be on the streets. And a lot of these people, like you said, are just like, I got caught with marijuana, but it was my third strike, so I got 25 years minimum. He's just like, so we're too dangerous to be on the streets, but you let me into your house to work on it for less than $2 an hour. Yeah. This may be woke. I think that minimum wage is minimum wage. And if you're doing a job, you should get it. I disagree that we use prisoners to make license plates for below minimum wage. I also think that the stupid thing that servers have, because I used to be a server, that you can get paid below minimum wage and make it up in tips, I think that should be abolished. I think that is criminal.
Let's abolish tips. Pay them minimum wage. I'm so tired of paying 20% for some to carry a plate to me of something I didn't even order. They get it wrong anyway, and they expect a tip. Abolish tips.
Abolish that. Put it into my fucking bill so you can actually pay them at least minimum wage.
Sure.
Minimum wage for everybody. That includes prisoners. Human rights go to everybody who's a U.S. citizen in this country. It's to everybody, even if they're a prisoner.
Citizen only.
Citizen. Sure. Yeah, we'll keep it at that. Honestly, I think that's a fair compromise. Prisoners should get paid minimum wage if they're doing a job that somebody on the outside would do. Just because they're prisoners doesn't mean you can treat them poorly.
On the outside of white society.
On the outside in a white
is
city.
What you're saying with ASL right now.
I'm signing it to you right now, N. Speaking of something that made me say the N-word, I saw F1 on Apple TV. My God. Did this get nominated for Best Editing? I think it did.
Yes, and Best Picture. Actually, You know what, Nick? I have it right here. So F1 was nominated for Best Sound. It was nominated for Best Visual Effects. It was nominated for Best Editing. It was nominated for Best Picture. And I don't see anything else here. Maybe one other thing? I don't think so, though.
Okay, sound and visual effects, whatever. I don't care about that. Best Editing? Oh my God, we have a new Bohemian Rhapsody.
No.
Caleb, there are certain scenes where every time a character in like a group of 5 people just starts talking, they switch to them immediately first syllable, which is, how editing should be, right? Of when somebody speak, you do a fucking like shot, reverse shot.
The George Lucas School of Editing.
Exactly. No, you should not do that. I was getting whiplash, literally, from looking at these people and seeing like, wait, hold on, wait. The movie is extremely boring. Mm-hmm. I don't really care about F1, by the way. I think it's actually one of those things I would call rich people sports that they don't care about it, but because there's a lot of money in it, they go to see it. It's like the Masters in tennis or whatever the Open is.
Or golf or,
Sure, it's like why Zendaya, she doesn't care about like these tennis players. She doesn't care about Naomi Osaka. She doesn't care about these people. She's going there because
Blacks
she's
hate Asians, that's why. They do.
But Naomi's she's a half black, half normal.
I don't know who this is. I just heard the name.
Anyway, this is what I would call rich person sport, where it's really just like oil sheiks and Elon Musk and all these people. They buy like the Mercedes team, and then you see like Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Räikkönen and all these other drivers drive around in what I think is, I've always thought this, racing is kind of boring to watch. I would rather be doing it, if anything.
Sure.
So, but watching them go around a track with cameras that don't really capture the speed, a lot of the time, F1's a little different. Extremely boring. Brad Pitt is playing a character that you've seen a million times, where it's just like, Brad, you could have been so good. You had this career. And he's like, I just want to like, he's like the like relief driver in a lot of like long races, like Daytona 500 for the first like 200 laps, he'll go in and get them a good lead and they'll swap drivers. And he that's his career. He like lives in an Airstream trailer and he's just like driving around. And he's just like, I ain't got no place. I'm just kind of a drifter. But he's not interesting.
Yeah.
He's just a guy who's good at driving. Yeah. There's no personality to him. And you have Carrie Condon, who's like the first like female team lead. And she's just like, I see you driving there. You're good at driving. And he's like, yeah. And then, of course, they have a love affair. And it's like completely unearned. And he's training this new driver who's meant to be a stand-in for Lewis Hamilton. He's like this young black driver. But yeah, this is very self-filleting. It's just people who are in the industry of F1. I mean, it has Lewis Hamilton and a bunch of other racers in it. It's completely like, hey, you remember F1? It got car in it.
Yeah.
Javier Bardem. It's the most like, I would call this like a cinematic doctor's office. It is completely devoid.
So this is the one thing I have to say, because I didn't watch the movie, but I've seen the trailer. I hate this school of cinematography where you just shoot in log profile and then barely color correct it. This thing looks very sterile and too white balanced and not properly exposed, because every shot in the trailer of the black character, his face is a void.
Yes.
You cannot see it. You just see eyes. It's like the scene. It's like the ending of the This Is America music video. If you remember that, where Donald Glover is like running in darkness.
Oh, yeah.
And it's at the beginning, you only can really see his like eyes and his teeth. And then he like runs into light. This looks like it was shot, but not as like an artistic statement. Like it's just poorly lit kind of looking from the trailer. Didn't watch the whole movie, but that shit drives me nuts. And Spielberg's movies are shot like this frequently now. And I really hate this aesthetic. I don't think anyone's a fan of it. I know there's people who aren't going to be bothered by it. It's not a stylistic choice. It's just laziness. So, well, I don't really want to light this. So just sort of make it, everything's going to be natural. The sun is always shining into the lens. Hit record. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. The director is Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun Maverick.
Two Gun, Two Maverick.
Two Gun, Two Maverick. Most Gun, Most Maverick. I liked Top Gun Maverick for what it was. I think it's a decently made movie and it looks good. F1 seems like a step down in every regard. There's a lot more CG cars, which is why it got nominated for like visual effects or something, whatever you said.
Yeah, it did.
Sound, sure, makes sense. I mean, you're having car engines and it's a racetrack. And they sound fine. I mean, here's the thing. Sound is one of those categories I don't care about, so it's like whatever. Editing, however, like I said earlier, some of the worst editing I've seen this year.
No.
And it's kind of bizarre because you know what got snubbed for best editing that extremely deserves it?
I think I know exactly what you're going to say. Let's say it together.
3, 2, 1. No other choice. The best editing of the year.
Pretty good.
Yeah, insane.
Pretty damn good.
Insane. The fact that F1 is here and not that, sacrilegious. Yes. I think whoever runs the Academy...
Not having seen F1, No Other Choice deserved nominations in many categories. Editing, I agree, one of them. And I mean, looking at the other editing nominees, actually, we have F1. Haven't seen it, can't say, but you say it's bad. I take your word for it. Marty Supreme, editing good.
Sure.
Deserves to be here. One Battle. If it was missing here, I wouldn't mind. It's probably going to win, but
it's fine.
It's fine. Sentimental Value deserves it. If it wasn't there, I wouldn't be mad, but good editing.
Sure.
Sinners, who cares?
I don't.
Actually, we'll get to this when we talk about Sinners. Actually, some bad editing choices that stuck out to me way harder the second one.
Oh, yeah. Actually, no, Sinners shouldn't be here because there's an entire scene where they forget to do any sound, which made it into the final movie that I was screaming at.
There are scenes where they forget to do a lot of things that I think they definitely left my mind, and I think they probably left yours because I wrote them down. I'm going to tell you about them, and you're going to say, Caleb, are you making that up? Because there's some shit that goes just because we're just in such a fugue watching Sinners.
Yeah.
I can't jump out yet. We haven't gotten to Sinners yet.
Yeah, I'm going to rip my dick off my body when we talk about Sinners because that pissed me off. But yeah, F1 should not be nominated for that. Other ones don't get first of all, Best Picture, get the fuck out of here. It should have gone to another deserving movie like No Other Choice or something else entirely.
I think we might have talked about this before on the podcast. Apparently F1 is the first Best Picture nominee in like 40 years that has no directing, writing, or acting nominations anywhere else. Which is kind of weird to think about because I thought there were more. I thought that Extremely Loud and Incredibly Bleeding or whatever it was called was also that, but apparently that got an acting nomination for Max von Sydow, which was basically just like, hey, here's a guy we never gave an award and he's probably going to die soon, so throw him a nomination. Undeserved, but anyway, I know a lot of people who've seen F1. F1, weirdly, is probably the movie that the largest amount of Americans have seen from these Best Picture nominees, despite the fact it's the most kind of, I guess, resented for being in this list. But I know a lot of people who've seen it who pretty much all have the same thing to say about it, which is, yeah, it's pretty good. And by the way, Nick, everyone besides you that I've talked to who's seen this movie has said the exact same thing at the end of their spiel, which is essentially, I mean, it's a racing movie. So basically everyone has the same opinion of like, yeah, it's good enough, but also like, what were you expecting? It's a movie funded and co-produced by the sport it's representing. So it's going to be very nice and very safe and give you all the things that you've seen in all the sports movies and do it pretty much averagely, I guess, without any like extra flair outside of like, look, it's Brad Pitt. Oh my God, movie star. But
it's completely boring. It's something that like you would watch on like Air Emirates as an in-flight movie where it's like, oh, racing and also rich people.
I just remembered something. You mentioned earlier that the racing, it's just kind of boring to watch. I agree. I've always had this opinion about football. Football is always filmed from in profile. It's always filmed from these sidelines. And you see these cameras when you watch the games, you can see that they have cameras on wires right over the field, which obviously they, can do the slow motion playback, but they should never show that feed during the game. I want to see, like in Madden, I want to see a vertical portrait overhead over the players pointing the direction that the offense is heading so that I can actually see the action from their perspective and it would be cool. They never show that. We're always watching like we're watching horse racing from like way back there,
That is
it's terrible. Same thing with, sports racing. Just set up like the Matrix when they put the 90,000 DSLR cameras all around the room. Just set up a ton of cameras all around or get some technology where cameras can move. And like similar to Mario Kart, how you can see that kind of view, film the people, a wide enough angle that you can see who's in the lead. And then it would be exciting to watch. Yeah. Why are all these sports filmed? They don't have to be filmed from the perspective of the spectator stands. It's 2026, people.
There actually is a silver lining. I agree with what you're saying, by the way. I feel like they should have a Michael Mann camera right behind the neck of the quarterback. Anyway, but what the Winter Olympics is doing this year during the downhill skiing, they have a drone. They have like an FPV drone following them at like 90 miles an hour.
Exactly.
Down there. And I think that's interesting. I think that is a good use of technology to show the people what the skier is experiencing. And it's better than just having the cameras set up and just like, moving over them way far away. I think that's interesting. F1, to its credit, does have a lot of like cockpit scenes where he's like, steering and all that. I can tell it's, it's not CG. It's actually somebody racing. I don't know if Brad Pitt is racing himself. I also really don't care. I don't care if he did his own stunts because this is nothing. But there are a lot of scenes where I'm like, okay, well, Joseph Kosinski did film cockpit scenes for Top Gun Maverick.
Right.
And I think he does care about capturing something authentic with machinery.
Yeah.
But most of the movie is just so boring. It's also way too long. It's like 2.5 hours. This should be a 2-hour movie max. Yeah. Yeah. It's almost 3 hours, Caleb.
That's what?
I was watching this with my aunt and I was like falling asleep. And I was just like, yeah, like halfway through I paused to go to the bathroom. I'm like, I'm really not enjoying this.
Have I talked about the Hemingway letter on this show? Do you even know what I'm referring to? About writing a short, having the time to write something short?
I don't think so.
Okay. I don't think I'm being redundant here then. Movies are way too long now.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the movie was 2 hours or 2.5 or 3 or 3.5, almost always it's something that if it was 2, it could have been closer to 90. Everything is so much longer than it needs to be, and you can easily confuse a long movie with a movie that had more to tell or maybe took longer to make. But really, it actually takes more time to make something that works very well and has no fat. Mm-hmm. There's a letter that Ernest Hemingway once wrote to a friend, a colleague, I think, another writer. And it was, just many, many, many pages, single lined of him just kind of talking about everything that was on his mind. And it's kind of everything he's up to and what he's currently working on. And at the end of the letter, he ended it by saying, all right, Nick, well, I'm wrapping it up now. And, I'm sorry for such a long letter. I didn't have the time to write a short one. And from one writer to another, that makes perfect sense. You know exactly what he means. Because, it takes time you got to get your draft out and then condense.
Brevity is wit.
Figure out, paring something down to its absolute essence takes a lot of time and effort, but it's so rewarding because then you have something as the receiver, as the viewer, the reader, whatever, you have something that just moves. Mm-hmm. And when something is really well edited, it's not only shot to shot, even though that matters a lot. It's also the overall pacing of the thing and shaping the movie and, doing a lot of macro moves that affect the micro moves and making those work in concert with each other. That's a very difficult thing to do. It's very hard to make a feature-length piece of media that is like perfectly edited. It's doable, and we get a couple of those a year, but it seems like people editing movies now, they're hyper-focused on the micro cuts from shot to shot, really. And, giving you a lot of whiz-bang and just lots of cuts. You mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody. That the whole reason that had controversy is because it just cuts when there doesn't need to be cuts.
Yes.
I forget who said this. I can never quote anybody for what they said because I've just absorbed so much shit in my life. But there's another quote that when you're editing something, you kind of do it by feel. It's hard to teach someone how to edit well, but if it's done well, you're showing something at the moment someone, if they were standing there observing, would turn their head and look at that thing. So
yes.
If you're cutting a conversation, it's not just about cutting to them when they talk. As you mentioned earlier, a person starts talking, cut to them. It's really about, well, would you actually be still watching this person after they finished what they said and the other person started talking because you're more interested in what's happening on their face, for instance.
Yes.
I'm getting really in the weeds, but it just seems like editors only focus on that now. And then the final movie is 3.5 fucking hours long. And it could be like half that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, editing is one of those things that you shouldn't notice, with the exception of like Park Chan-wook, No Other Choice, where he actually has like an interesting edit where you're like, whoa, look at that.
A lot of intentional,
yes.
It was shot to be edited a certain way.
Yes, which is completely fine. Yeah. But in most movies like F1, I shouldn't notice that you're cutting between people every like quarter second.
Yeah.
Which is what they literally did. And I was just like, I come on.
Yeah.
Just cut however many cuts you did, just like reduce that by half, and it would have been bad, but it would have been like way better than what they were doing.
Yeah.
My goodness, you don't need to cut to somebody every time they're talking. It's actually more interesting if you don't, because that's an artistic choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, F1. I wouldn't really recommend this to people who like racing movies. Like if you liked Ford versus Ferrari or other racing stuff, I think that you would find this incredibly vacant. Personally, I didn't like it. I know a lot of people do or think it's fine, but personally, I don't think this is worth watching. I think it's one of the worst Best Picture nominations in recent years, at least this decade.
Okay.
If I had to think, ooh, this might be controversial, Caleb. I think this is worse than Sinners.
Okay.
And knowing how we're Sinner haters, that's saying a lot.
I mean,
Sinners at least
is not great.
It's not great, but when I was watching Sinners, I was kind of glued to the screen in a way of like, what's going on? F1 is one of those things where I'm clocked out. I don't go on my phone when I'm watching movies, but I desperately was like, I wish I was doing literally anything else right now than watching F1. Sinners, I was just like, I need to see this train wreck. So take that as you will. I enjoyed this less than Sinners. If you can tolerate, if you like F1, you'll probably like this more than I did. I'm completely apathetic.
I might watch part of it just as a case study of just seeing. It's kind of fun to watch bad editing sometimes. Because like Ford, you mentioned Ford versus Ferrari. That movie has, I think, pretty great editing. Like,
sure,
I would agree. It does what it needs to do. I mean, it didn't deserve the Oscar, which it won, which is just crazy to me.
Oh, wow.
But, it moves along and it is kind of fun. Like I mentioned George Lucas earlier. George Lucas, his like method of editing movie, it's like a calculator doing it. It's so terrible. His movies have some of the worst pacing I've ever seen. At least movies he had like control over,
Yeah.
Famously Star Wars won the Oscar. His wife edited it. Yeah. She won, but
Thank God.
his original cut was apparently unwatchable. There's a story that Brian De Palma saw it. Like George Lucas was showing his director friends, like, can you give me some feedback as my first cut? And De Palma was like, you need to burn their negatives. This is like unsalvageable.
You made crap.
Yeah. And his wife apparently cut out like half the movie.
Thank God to Miss Lucas, whatever her name is now. You saved an entire series. You should get all the money that George is getting.
There's a theory that the reason why he buried the original cuts is because his extended cut or whatever, special edition, is that what he called it? Of the original movies, it was a way of getting her out of royalty money.
Oh,
because
my God.
It was like technically a different thing.
It's transformative.
Yeah. There's a theory that that's why he like ruined the original trilogy.
By putting CGI like Bonthos in fucking Tatooine.
Yes.
And that sucks and it's jarring for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seeing like aliens' assholes as they shit in the street.
Oh,
Remember that?
We can't get too much on Star Wars because we'll talk about it for 50 minutes like we did in that one episode. But the Cy Snoodles and like Max Rebo, that performance in Return of the Jedi.
Where you see his uvula.
And he's like singing, he's like, wah! And it's like, fuck off. I hate this. And you have the Twi'leks and everybody dancing. That's, terrible.
Apparently that was original footage.
Actually, yeah, okay.
Not of the cartoon people.
Yeah. I know what you're saying because there was a scene with Jabba the Hutt that was cut from 4 where he's like a human. And then they have that weird thing where Han steps on him and they artificially raise him. Yes. And it looks terrible. I recommend you guys look up that cut scene. It's so bad. Awful. It looks terrible. But yeah, no, he's going in the soup.
I think he tried, I forget where I heard this, but I think Lucas was interested in finding a way to make Hayden Christensen's face on Darth Vader's face at the end of Return of the Jedi. When he lifts off the helmet, replacing whoever that actor was. When you
thank God he didn't do that.
Is there a way we could get that done?
Thank God he only did the Force Ghost at the end, which is weird watching it as a kid.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, even as a kid, I'm like, wait, but he old guy. Why he young ghost?
People argue for that, saying, "Oh, well, no, but it's because he was redeemed and blah blah blah." But it's the version of Hayden Christensen that shows up at the end. That's actually when he was at his most evil.
It's the Revenge of the Sith episode 3 hair, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And he was redeemed before he died. So the like pure version of his soul that would go to Jedi heaven was actually the old man as portrayed in the original film.
If you're looking at it through a Catholic lens, it should be him at the end. Because he redeemed. Yeah.
Yes, obviously.
So, terrible. George Lucas, you fucking Protestant. Don't make movies anymore. You saw Minecraft.
Dude, I watched the mine out of this crap. This movie actually gave me a disease for like 2 days.
It sucked your fucking dick.
I wasn't able to talk. I don't remember exactly. I'll have to pull it up here. Okay, I just found it here. So on Letterboxd, when I watched this movie, I logged my review. And then when we were talking, I think playing Counter-Strike with our friends like that night or the next day, you were like, Caleb, what were you talking about? And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't even remember writing this. I was in such a this gave me just an absolute brainworm for a few hours. My review on Letterboxd was lava chicken. Steve's Lava Chicken, Minecraft Movie, Zombie and Pig, Pink Coat Travel Zoo, Rachel Zegler, Chicken Jockey, credited to Steve. That's my entire review. I don't know why I wrote Rachel Zegler especially, but holy shit, dude. So this got clowned before it came out because of how bad it looked and, Jack Black in the trailer, Chicken Jockey and all that shit, Ender Pearl.
And there was a leaked version without the finished CGI.
Quote unquote leaked, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you have a different take.
I don't really care enough to have a different take, but yeah, there is a take where you could just see like all the machinations of what CGI editing looks like.
The early, I'm pretty sure that has to have been leaked. Because here's the thing, Nick, that's never happened with a movie ever before. What are the odds it happened with the thing that was getting memed, where they were like, holy shit, we spent $5 billion on this. It's been in development since 2008. You know, like we're going to lose, like no one's going to see it. We need to play into the memeness because there's no other way. And it worked out because the movie made its money. You know, people went and saw it and everyone destroyed every theater across America when the chicken jockey scene happened.
Throwing popcorn up in the air, yeah.
Right. And I didn't watch this when it came out. I watched this long after it came to streaming. I was just sort of really bored during an afternoon. I didn't really feel like I was in the mood to watch something good. I didn't feel like I was in the place to receive something that was cerebral. And most of what I had left to watch was kind of slower, more cerebral things. So I was like, well, Minecraft movie, similar with the Chappelle stand-up. Let me just start it and see how far I get. I genuinely can't tell if this movie was originally conceived to be a meme. Because it's bad in ways that it's hard to picture them fucking it up. There's things about it that are so insanely and horrible that it kind of feels like they tried to make it memeable. Like this might be the first movie, because it happens a lot. It happened with that scene in Dungeons and Dragons where Chris Pine's face starts like melting for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's just there to become a YouTube poop. Like this might be the first full length, let's just make a meme kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that because the original director was Rob McElhenney. Mac from Always Sunny was originally set to direct this, and now I forget his name.
Jared Hess.
Jared Hess, the director of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, and Nacho Libre starring Jack Black.
Sure.
And maybe other things starring Jack Black too, actually.
I think so, but those are his two claims to fame, if you could call them. They're not equal, but...
No.
Yeah, it's very... I don't know how he got this job or why he wanted it.
I mean, it pays the bills and the film industry barely exists.
Sure.
And I guess how hard it's not going to be taxing to stand on a green screen while someone turns on a softbox light and you say, all right, Jack, your line is nether. Okay, cool. We got that. Okay. Your next line is totally butt naked awesome. Like there's so much, I think I talked about this with you already, maybe. There's so much butt dialogue in this movie. People say butt loads and they say, oh, that sucked butt. And they say that a lot. And it's like, this is 3-year-old humor.
Yeah.
The movie is almost incomprehensible. I tried to take notes as I was watching it of the questions that I had because I thought that might be more useful than trying to discern what the intention was. Most of what I wrote down was just like a character name with a question mark or a line of dialogue with a question mark. And not even because I was even trying to be useful to myself. I guess it was just a way of trauma processing this thing. The movie starts, I forget under what context this was, but there was something that we discussed on this podcast about a character's name or something where it was like, you know, your name will be blank. And it's like, wait, you need to do more work than that. You can't just, oh, it was Revenge of the Sith.
Your name will be Darth Vader.
You're going to be Darth Vader. And it's like, wait, that's how he got his name? Like, what you need to... This movie starts with Jack Black doing voiceover narration, and it's supposed to be like young Jack Black, but he's still just fat and gay and old.
Yeah.
And he just has like jet black hair or something, but no pun intended. But he's in an office dressed as Steve. He's in the Steve outfit, and he's like, I've always wanted to mine. And then it just shows some like powerful orb from like Marvel movies, the Tesseract.
Okay.
And it like transports you into Minecraft world, and he's just walking by a mine shaft one day, and it has like a cartoon sign on it that says like, don't go in here. And he's like, I will go in there. And he finds the orb and gets sent to Minecraft world with his dog.
Okay.
Who isn't a Minecraft dog? It's like a real dog who stays a real dog in Minecraft world.
Oh, he stays a real dog, but he's not blocks?
Yes.
What the fuck?
Then when they're in Minecraft land, there's the first 5 minutes is just him narrating, him discovering Minecraft. He starts like, mining trees and stuff to make a house, and then his houses get bigger and better, like how people who play Minecraft go from making the boxy houses to the real houses. Mm-hmm. Then he discovers how to make portals to the Nether. And then his dog runs into it, and Jack Black does the most half-assed. It's one of the worst green screen movies ever. Where there's no question in your mind in any shot in this movie where the set ended and the green screen began. I mean, the set, I doubt there even was a set, but like where the physical space they filmed ended. Jack Black just goes, no, puts up one hand to like as his dog's running into the thing, and then runs after it
The dog is then kidnapped by pig people in the Nether, and they say, we got your dog forever. We ain't giving him back. And then he goes back to I forget if the overworld is real life or if it's the normal world in Minecraft. I've played Minecraft and I can't even tell you. And then it just becomes about the other characters in the movie, which are these two kids and this black woman with like a zoo in her car. Yeah. And Jason Momoa, who's like a wrestler personality type, but he's like a gamer. And I think the kid just like discovers, they move into Jack Black's old house. And then the movie is, they meet Jack Black pretty much immediately. He like saves them. Day turns to night every 20 minutes in the game Minecraft, and it works that way in the movie. Mm-hmm. So the sun goes down and then like monsters and spiders and zombies are attacking them. Jack Black saves them and says, "I am Steve." And then they just like walk around Minecraft and talk about butts. And then at the end, they go to the Nether, or the Nether comes up to the overworld somehow, and they fight the pigs. And then the credits roll.
I'm taking a lot of damage from listening to this. Because I've seen Chicken Jockey. I've also seen Lava Chicken. I've seen like some of the other stuff. Okay. So this is actually proof that I think I agree with you that this was made for a meme, because he says something as a kid. He goes, "As a child, I yearned for the mines." The phrase "yearned for the mines" is an actual like famous tweet. It was like some post of like a young like a coal digger in like West Virginia in like 1910, and it said like somebody quote tweeted it and said like the children yearn for the mines. This is why Minecraft was invented, and that was viral. So this is just more proof that it's meant to be a meme. If they're taking literal memes that aren't even related, to the game, just tangentially. I mean, this movie made like $1 billion.
Must have.
So they're probably going to make a sequel where Jack Black is like Hero Brian or whatever. The evil Steve, for people not in the know. I played Minecraft. I know a thing or two about a thing or two. Yeah, this is one of the things I kind of avoided because I was like, I mean, what can I gain from it? I'm not going to, the game is whatever. It's not like Exit 8 where I'm just like, you can expand on the story and make something interesting. This is just like, what can you literally do? It's about building. It's about zombies. It's about spiders. Yeah. It's about the Nether and Ender Dragon.
If Minecraft isn't a game in the movie, it's just like a entity. It's like Star Wars.
Another realm.
Another realm.
Oh.
Normal people get sent to Minecraft, but I don't know. It's really uninteresting. I found it to be something that you could probably only, even ironically, enjoy in the movie theater with people who are also just shouting the words, but that didn't really even appeal to me. Like, I don't know. While I was watching, I just felt such hatred in my heart. Mm-hmm. I think Jack Black, my opinion of him already wasn't good, but I think that he really is. This is one of the most phoned in, not like you're expecting him to be great, but even for what this is, for the like beginner level of effort you need to even be participating, he is really checked out. He looks suicidal in this movie.
From what I've seen, it's him standing, not even doing a lot of physical acting, being like flint and steel, and then like a character gets attacked by the chicken jockey and he goes like,
first we mine, then we craft.
And it's like,
it's the whole movie.
Dude.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge is in this.
She fucks a villager.
So in the trailer, she just shows up in the trailer and then she hits a villager with her car and she's like, "Oh my God, what a big penis is under that." Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's on like a dinner date with a villager, and that's all they show in the trailer. And it's like, wow, I wonder, I guess, and in my mind, I went, I guess Minecraft is going to come to the real world at the end. And that's like, they're showing like some funny scene, but that's probably taken from the third act. No, there's just a moment in the middle of the movie where a villager somehow comes to real life. Jennifer Coolidge is like a principal at a school, I think, or like there's a potato chip factory. They're in Idaho.
This is so fucking stupid.
And there's like the kid like blows something up at a potato factory. I could not tell what was happening at the beginning of the movie. I can't remember if she worked there or she was the principal, but anyhow, she's some kind of authority figure who hits a villager. That's how it's introduced. Yeah. There's just a villager in real world. She hits him and then she goes on a dinner date. She's like, "Oh yeah, you're really hot." And he's like, "Huh." I think that's the last scene she's in the movie.
She's in bed with them at the end.
Maybe. I didn't really stay. Once the credits start, Jack Black starts singing to the camera about Minecraft. See, I can't even talk now. This movie is like, it's not worth it for the meme is basically the review. Like, you all know it's stupid, but having watched it, it's not enjoyably bad. It kind of feels like just watching your children be
Oh my God, Caleb.
If you like watching movies, I mean, like, I just felt like Marty in that scene. Like, just turn it off. Like, it's just, like, with our complaints of many of these movies, you're watching time and resources just go to waste. And
you're actually true, though.
They're kind of psychically raping me.
Physically as well.
Kinda.
Your hole was dilated when you left.
He also sings, by the way, multiple times in this movie.
Yeah, he does Lava Chicken, and then there was a meme before the movie came out where it was like Jack Black in Minecraft, and it's like, I am placing blocks and shit. Does he do something like that, I guess?
There's like a montage near the end where they're gearing up to go fight the pigs.
Yeah, the Pigmen, I think.
I don't even know why. I think they just want Jack Black's dog back. I can't even recall.
Wow.
But they're gearing up in like some kind of montage, and he's like, you place the wood block and then 2 stone blocks. That's how you make a sword.
Then you make a diamond sword.
I was under a spell. I might have been abducted by aliens or raped like Brady Corbet.
This is your mysterious skin. You think you saw Minecraft, but you actually got raped by a guy. The entire time, like, Caleb, that didn't happen in Minecraft. Dude, what would you rather prefer? Rewatch Minecraft or get raped for real?
That's a funny analogy. I keep watching Minecraft trying to understand it, but I was just raped.
I don't get it. Where's the dude's penis in my mouth?
Yeah. Chicken jockey, dude. Chicken jockey.
Chicken jockey.
Ender Pearl. It's just an iron golem, but they're a bunch of softies. That's like the dialogue I remember.
Oh.
The entire movie is literally just these children being like, monster. And then the black woman's like,
What the hell? Oh, hell no, not in my town. You'll be trifling in Minecraft.
I don't know why she's even in it. This is the like quintessential example of the studio being like, well, there needs to be a sinner in this thing or we're going to get shit online.
Yeah.
So grab someone off the street. This might not even be an actress.
It's one of the sinners from Orange is the New Black. She was in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that show back in the day, and I recognized her immediately. She's been in stuff since then, but that's, I think, one of her more famous roles now.
Holy shit. Minecraft. Anyway, moving on, Sentimental Value, which we both saw.
Mm-hmm.
I give this the Penis Award for sucking my fucking penis. No, this is a really good movie.
It's fantastic. It is my best film of the year. Sentimental Value, I believe, is a 10 out of 10. It is a perfect movie. I love this. I have no qualms or nitpicks with it, really. I think it is better than The Worst Person in the World, which was Joachim Trier's previous film.
I agree. Which is also great.
It's also great. Everything that he gained from or learned from making that movie, he expanded on in this one. He made an extremely well-layered family drama with amazing performances that deserves every single nomination it got.
I agree.
It might win one. I think it's favored to win one with Stellan Skarsgård as Best Supporting Actor.
And probably foreign film.
Foreign film, I don't know if it's going Secret Agent because Secret Agent won Golden Globes. But I would want it to win a lot of stuff. It got 9 nominations, which is pretty good for a foreign film.
It's not guaranteed. I think it is favored to win. I think the fact that it got like 9 nominations or 10 and Secret Agent got like 2, and I think the fact that it's way more popular with people, I think that foreign film is almost never a surprising category. It's usually very, at least in my opinion, very predictable.
Sure.
So, there are years where the thing that got 5 nominations loses to the thing that got 1 for only that category. But, you know, even then when you look at it, it's like, well, I can understand how if you watched all the movies, which you have to do to vote in this category, you would pick that other thing. So, you know, it might not go to Sentimental Value. It could go to It Was Just an Accident or Secret Agent, but I think it's probably walking away with that.
For an American audience, I think that Sentimental Value, it's going to be that.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe international audience would maybe go Secret Agent, but because Brazilians are pretty outspoken.
Do you mean in the Sam Hyde sense of the word?
No, actual Brazilians.
Okay.
Genuine soccer lovers. Anytime there's a Brazilian movie like I'm Still Here when it won, which was deserved.
True.
They are constantly talking about like, oh, Brazil numero uno and all this stuff. And it's like, well, Secret Agent wasn't that great, which we'll get into eventually in a different episode. But Sentimental Value, fantastic film. This might be one of my favorites of the decade that I'm thinking about so far. The subtext in this movie is fantastic. The script is incredibly layered. I watched this twice. I might even rewatch it a third time, and I've also read the script. The information you gain from when characters say something is fantastic. I love when you can infer something from what somebody says that completely recontextualizes an entire character. Mm-hmm. And cinema value is basically that over and over. Cinematography-wise, looks beautiful. It didn't need to do anything extravagant because this isn't meant to be like, I guess what would be a good example, like an Andrei Tarkovsky movie where you need to see like Stalker or The Sacrifice or anything like that, where you need something beautiful. No, this is a very down-to-earth family drama that I loved. Every single character in it is extremely complex, but realistic. Yeah. I don't have a problem with anybody. Stellan Skarsgård is hilarious. It has my favorite scene of the year that I don't want to spoil, but Stellan Skarsgård gifts his grandson movies for his birthday.
And I'm doing the Julian wave right now because we talked about that. The gift that is given, the thing that is given, we discussed that before this movie came out.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
About the alternate version of that thing. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my God.
Okay, because I have to say something. There were 2 months. I saw this in a theater with 3 people, and I did watch it on Tuesday, so there was less people and it was cheaper because I'm Jewish. There was a scene where everybody laughed at where Stellan Skarsgård, and this isn't a spoiler, he's saying his mom killed himself. And he's saying she used that stool over there. And then Elle Fanning is like, oh, my God. And then his daughter says, oh, the one from IKEA. That got a laugh from everybody, including me in the theater. There was a scene when he gifted his grandson the gift. I was the only one that laughed at what he gifted because I knew it.
Yeah.
The other people maybe were like, I don't know what that is. Fantastic scene. I loved it. I think it's one of those things where it's like he respects that a person watching this is smart enough to know what those movies are and that I don't want to say too much, but it's so good. It's my favorite scene. It's one of those things where the more I think about it, I'm like, yes, this is fucking cinema. This is what movies should be. Joachim Trier and Eskil Voigt, or whatever his fucking Norwegian name is, who wrote the script with him. Oh, it's so good. I want this every single year so that I don't chimp out and just like mail packages to. This is the thing that saved me this year because I was hyped up for this. I was super hyped up, and I was just like, okay, this needs to be at least passable, and I won't kill.
You were onto this before most of the English-speaking world, because I remember that like back in like June or May, you said, oh, there's this movie Sentimental Value that's coming out. It's the guy who did Worst Person in the World. And I said, oh, okay, whatever. And then you mentioned it again a few months later on this podcast in an early episode, and I'd already forgotten again because it just... And then it came out and the fucking entire planet fell in love with it. I think it's one of the most positively reviewed movies. It's in like the top 2 or 3. I think technically when you look at like review aggregators, I think Sinners and One Battle tend to be the number 1 or 2 most places, but this is like at least number 3. If not number 2 or 1 in most sites.
Yes, I would agree. I think on Letterboxd it's like 4.2, and a lot of like the really popular movies this year, like Marty Supreme and like Sinners, are 4.2, 4.1. The Voice of Hind Rajab is 4.4 or 3.
Whoa, Jew hatred.
Sure. No, but that is a well-crafted movie that we will talk about eventually, which I think deserves that score. But Cinema Value is a 5-star movie for me. It's good to see this getting the love that I think it deserves. Because sometimes you see a movie and you're like, oh, this is so underrated, and it just doesn't connect. But seeing this get 9 Oscar nominations, seeing this Renate Reinsve, the lead actress, winning at like the European Film Awards or whatever it is, and a bunch of other people also winning awards, it's one of those things where it's like... as a parent, you're just proud of your like child for winning an award. You're just like, yes, my son's so great, and he won it, and everybody knows now.
So 2 years ago, when Poor Things and Anatomy of a Fall were the 2 favorites for winning Best Actress, I was personally pulling for Sandra Hüller, I think was her name, for Anatomy of a Fall. But when Emma Stone won, I was like, oh, well, I mean, that's also...
She was great.
These are apples and oranges. These are both fantastic performances. And the foreign film has a disadvantage of the fact that more people are going to not have seen it because for some fucking reason, people have prejudice against reading subtitles.
And the Academy is racist.
This is a year where the foreign film, it's not apples and oranges at all. No. Renate Reinsve is amazing in this movie, and she is 100% losing the Oscar to this fucking Ben Affleck phoned-in performance in Hamnet.
Yeah.
God damn it, I'm just so mad about that. But... Nick, you're going to hate me. I think Sentimental Value, while I agree it's very good. I pretty much agree with all of your takes on all the qualities of it, you know. I think it is a little overrated. Now, let me clarify.
I mean that in the most literal sense, the word overrated. Most people will say things, we've talked before about how people say, I'm not a fan of blank. And what they're really saying is, I don't like blank, when really saying you're not a fan just means you're not fanatical about it.
Sure.
I think this movie I think its quality level is, what it is, but I think the praise is a little exceeding it. I've seen this movie now twice, and my initial thoughts on it, we talked about it very briefly, and I was like, yeah, I just watched it. I thought it was good. I need time to kind of process it. And then I gave myself a lot of time, rewatched it, and I didn't necessarily see more in it, like subtextually, but I did appreciate more of the kind of subtleties of it. And like you're talking about the behavior and kind of what you pick up about these people. You feel like you know them very well. They all feel like fully realized, real people.
Nobody's a caricature.
Yes. You're never thinking you're watching actors. It's extremely well performed, written, all that stuff. It's deserving of praise, but I don't know. I don't think it breaks enough new ground to achieve this masterpiece status that a lot of people hold it to. This is a nitpick, but I think it is a valid nitpick. This has a very cliched premise of the father who had put the career first, and the daughters aren't forgiving of him, and he's coming back into their lives and wants forgiveness, but can he? Like, that's just been done way too many times. Although that is a nitpick. I mean, you can't fault this movie for having an angle that does really exist, and it does approach these things in a fresh way. Mm-hmm. But I don't really see this X factor that everyone else seems to, or that a lot of people seem to see. It doesn't come off to me as a particularly deep movie in its like message. Very deep in the acting, and the execution is like perfect. Like on my rating system, this would get a high 90 score. This would get a near perfect score. Really, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I don't think it's saying a lot.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you here, and it's fine what you said, because I feel like this is a movie where if you relate to it personally, this is going to be like your top of the decade, which it is for me. There are things happening in my life right now, which I won't get into because this is a podcast. I'm not going to talk about gay shit like that. But things that happened in my life are very similar to things happening in Sentimental Value. And seeing my experience on the big screen like this and relating to this experience is something that I really just can't not pay attention to. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, movies are extremely personal, when directors make them. And seeing this, I just put myself in the shoes of multiple characters in this. Like I said, I won't get into it too much because I won't make it funny. It's going to be sad. But watching this, I was like, oh my God, I feel like my soul, not to be corny, is being shown on the screen right here, that he understands an element of my life that isn't usually shown in film.
Sure.
And Worst Person in the World kind of had that thing where I'm just like, this is good, but I can't really relate to it too much. Like the main character I had problems with, just relating to, not how she was written. But here I was like, I get it. 100%. I'm having that Danny DeVito, I get it now, look on Sentimental Value. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Like, this is a soft, or at least what do you call it? A hard 9 out of 10. I mean, I think it's a 10 out of 10. But I find very little wrong with it. I don't even really have that many nitpicks with it. Besides one scene that I don't even really care about, where it shows like the characters' faces morphing into each other.
The persona scene.
The persona scene that people said is European bullshit, which I don't really care about that much. Who cares? That
like
would be
20
a nitpick.
seconds of the movie.
Not even, honestly. But yeah, I think it speaks to a part of me that is hard to articulate. But I think it is proof of what cinema can do to help people realize things about themselves. Yeah. Not to get too much inside it.
That's not even, like, I can kind of sense that you're probably thinking, like, oh, I'm getting pretentious. It really is that. I mean, this is a movie about the experience that you have watching it. If you're watching it with an open mind and you're like, okay, I'm just going to kind of let this wash over me. Like, it is a very authentic portrayal of how people with the exact same information can come to different conclusions about each other.
Yeah.
If you've had like any family strife, even if it's nothing like what's in this movie, it will at the very least touch you in a way that, like, if you're a living, breathing person, you've had feelings like what the characters have about somebody in your life, and you can relate to it on that, like very basic primal level. I think that's a big part of why it is so loved and why it connects with a lot of people who don't even have personal experience that's that similar.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Nora. As someone who's seen a lot of movies, the stuff that's tackled in this movie, I've seen done in ways that hit me harder, not just because of personal experience, but just because they had a more unique story, I guess. This is a very traditional, like, you have seen this kind of story many times.
Yeah.
You've seen this kind of storytelling style many times, but you haven't seen it with these actors in this exact context. Let's end the episode this way. A little anecdote. We were playing Counter-Strike with a Mexican, and Nick was insanely drunk. You tell it, Nick.
I don't even remember it. I literally don't.
We had a 4-stack.
Yeah.
Our random player was this Mexican guy who was like, he was playing fine and he wasn't talking too much, but he said something that was just kind of like, all right, dude, give less call outs. And Nick, drunker than I've maybe ever heard him, in like team voice chat, just goes, hey, guys. Hey, yellow, Mexican guy, you're a taco and I'm a sake.
Yeah.
You were so drunk you were playing like an NPC.
Dude, I was doing so bad. Yeah, I don't remember saying that, but I remember being really bad at the game. And then I went to bed and I woke up like terribly hungover.
Yeah.
But that's so fun. That's the best thing you can do. Guy, if you're an older gentleman and you don't know what to do, play Counter-Strike until you get drunk with like people.
Take a gulp every time you die.
Yeah.
And after 3 games, you're going to be
You're going to have
bombed.
18 gulps. Yeah. No, it's a fun time. Yeah. God, that was so fun. I love doing this.
So, fuck Hamnet, fuck Dave Chappelle, fuck John Wick 4, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Weapons is fucking awesome.
Weapons
Smashing
rules.
Machine is shit.
Yeah.
Blue Moon is slop.
Mm-hmm.
Begonia is conservative slop. Minecraft is pure Satanism. And sentimental value is good.
It'll suck your penis in a good way.
It's a White's Rock movie.
It is, yeah, it's real Aryan Kino.
It is. Patreon.com/Your Older Brothers.
Instagram and TikTok, Your Older Brothers Podcast. X is You Are Older Brothers. If you want to email us about anything we talked about, or just say that you're a listener and you like what you hear, we want to hear from everybody that listens. YourOlderBrothers@gmail.com.